to the cooking stream. I hope you're all having a beautiful Wednesday. It is the start of a new week. It is Wednesday, October 2nd. We are, as somebody in chat pointed out, officially in spooky season. I've only dressed up for Halloween once when I was a kid or so because I've never, I don't know, actually gotten a costume that I've liked all that much. I always wanted to do something elaborate, and I was never able to really execute on that. Anyways, it's good to see all of you. Welcome on in. If you're watching this live, it is Wednesday, it is October 2nd, 5 p.m. EDT. And welcome to all of my lovely little sous chefs. Hello to Yokomoto. Hello to Fen Dweller, excuse me. Hello to Boudreaux Boy. Hello to Banner. Hello to Goth Moth. Hello to Scroblo. Hello to Trash Can Cat Mom. Hello to Shy Chica. Hello to Arc317. And hello to School of Rock and Roll. Welcome on in. It is good to have all of you today. I'm really excited about today's stream because we're going to be doing a dish that is beloved by yours truly. It's a dish that I love to eat. It is a dish that I've only really eaten at restaurants. Everybody, we're going to be making a really delicious little chicken pot pie today. And so, the reason why I wanted to do this was because in my freezer, I had some leftover chicken breasts. And I had some celery, I had some carrot, I had some green peas, and I thought, hey, those are all of the components of a chicken pot pie. I wanted something warm because it's getting a little bit colder outside. I want something nice and crispy. I want something nice and saucy. And I do really, really love a good chicken pot pie. Now, in a home setting, as you all may know, I do not like working with doughs. I don't really love working with pastries very much. Traditionally, a chicken pot pie would be made with what is called a puff pastry, right? Or you can sometimes do it like topped off with biscuits, but I would always eat it with a puff pastry, and I hate the idea of rolling out puff pastry at home, flouring the surface and then rolling it on top. That sounds really dreadful. So instead of using puff pastry, we're going to be opting to use a phyllo dough. We're going to be using a frozen phyllo dough. So Yokomoto, I hope that answers your question. And that's just because I have some phyllo dough still left over in my freezer, and I wanted to go ahead and use some of that up. And I thought that that would be like a cool little creative way to use up said phyllo dough. Now, it's not going to be exactly the same as a chicken pot pie that you would associate with either the puff pastry or biscuits. It's going to be a lot lighter, it's going to be a lot crispier, but I still think it's going to be really, really delicious by the end of it all. So I'm really excited to get into it. And then alongside it, I just want to do like a quick little salad, something sweet. I was going to do a sweet potato salad for today. And yeah, so everybody, before the stream started, I did make my own chicken stock really quickly. Or rather, I made a turkey stock. I had some leftover smoked turkey bones. I had some leek scraps. I had some other vegetable scraps. And what we're going to do is to gently poach the chicken. But everybody, before we begin talking about all the ingredients for today, really quickly, we have a modified schedule. So there is no stream this Friday, there is no stream this Sunday. There is no stream the next Friday, there is no stream the next Sunday. I'm gonna be gone for both weekends, but that does mean that we're going to be doing a back-to-back stream today and tomorrow, my friends. So Wednesday and Thursday, 5 p.m. EDT for the next 2 weeks. So that's gonna be today, tomorrow, next week Wednesday, and next week Thursday if you're watching this live. Because I'm gonna be out of town, I'm gonna be doing some Brawlhalla commentary, and of course I will announce it in the Discord. So everybody, let's go ahead and talk about all of the different ingredients for today. And it's going to begin with this. I have roughly, I don't know, maybe like a pound of chicken breast in total here today. It's just a big chicken breast as well as a little chicken tender. And we're going to gently poach it. We're going to get it really nice and juicy. We're going to slowly cook it, and then we're going to shred it up and add it into the pot pie. Does chicken pot pie crust even use egg? Well, Yokomoto, sometimes people do an egg wash garnish. In my case, I'm just going to be doing the layers of olive oil instead of egg wash. Okay, so I have some chicken breast, I have some chicken tender as well. We're going to gently poach it, gently cook it down. Next, everybody, these are going to be all of the vegetables, all the produce going in for today, besides the green peas. Also, Luigi, thank you so much for the sub. I really appreciate it. We're going to be doing a very classic French Mirepoix, right, which is celery, carrots, and onions. Really classic. You see this all over this kind of cooking, right? It's just going to be encased in this nice, delicious, creamy sauce. And then for the salad, we're going to be cooking up a sweet potato, and we'll be mixing it up with a nice little yellow bell pepper. I wanted something sweet. I wanted something fresh to be able to pair with this chicken pot pie today. So, classic French Mirepoix, everybody. Onion, celery, and carrot, and we can get into, talking about the importance of a trinity. later on. Okay, I'll put that down behind me. Next, I'm going for almost like a very classic poultry blend in terms of the spices that I'm using today. Okay, so that's why I'm gonna be using this combination of rosemary, thyme, sage leaves, and oregano, and that's all going to go back in to be able to season the pot pie. This is the kind that you would see usually in like a poultry seasoning mix. I wanted something nice and delicious. I wanted something nice and herbaceous, and thus that is my seasoning choice for today. But everybody, the magic of a pot pie is that you get to do it however you please. You get to do it however you want. You have infinite possibilities when it comes to a pot pie, my friends. So you don't have to do this poultry seasoning blend. You can basically put it anywhere that you want on the map. It's entirely up to you, flavor-wise. Okay? So I'll put that down behind me. Next, I have some leftover cilantro. And this cilantro, excuse me, is going to go towards the salad that we're making today. So we're just gonna go ahead and slice that up. It's gonna be nice and delicious, as well as some scallions. And then everybody, in my fridge, I also have some heavy cream. Okay, I'm gonna be teaching you how to make a flour thickened sauce, because that is what a pot pie is based off of, my friends. It is a flour thickened sauce. In this case, it's gonna be my own homemade stock. We'll talk about all the ingredients that went into the stock in a little bit. And we're going to gently and slowly poach the chicken in that stock. And then we're going to make a little combination out of some butter and flour, make what is called a roux, get a nice thick glossy sauce, cook the vegetables in it, and then bake it off with the pastry on top. So that's what we got to do today. If everybody is ready, I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, from everybody watching, please and thank you. Okay, so once again, 3 bits of housekeeping. First of all, guys, modified schedule. We have a stream today, we have a stream tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, but we will not have one this Friday and this Sunday. Next, if you'd like to directly support the cooking show, Patreon is the best way to go ahead and do so, my friends. My goal is to be able to make this full-time one day, and so any and all financial support on the Patreon would be really appreciated. Third, if you have any cooking questions whatsoever at any point in time, please remember that you're always welcome to ask me. I'm here to teach you guys how to cook. I'm here to teach you guys how to cook at home. So it can be about this dish, it can be about anything that you would like, so as long as it is related to food. So the first step, we have to begin poaching the chicken. And with that, we will segue into this delicious homemade stock that I have prepared for all of you. And we can go ahead and talk about what went into it. I made it in advance because we wouldn't have enough time to be able to do it all at once today. Okay, so everybody, I have a lovely pot of some smoked turkey stock that I made with some mushrooms. I had some dried shiitake mushrooms and then leeks, as well as some bay leaves. Okay, I really want to get all of you guys into the habit of making your own homemade stocks whenever possible. Homemade stocks are so much more delicious than box stocks. These were all of the different scraps that I had sitting in my freezer, my friends. Also, Wonder, welcome on in, it's lovely to have you. The reason why homemade stocks are so amazing is it's an amazing way to use up existing leftovers, and it's also an amazing way to be able to save up a little bit of money, and third of all, for culinary reasons, it is so much more delicious. Boxed and canned stocks, my friends, they're weak, they're watery, and they're quite frankly tasteless. Also, Doug Cabezas, welcome on in, it's lovely to have you. So, that's what we have here. We have this lovely little stock, and you can use a chicken stock for this. I wouldn't use like a beef stock, I wouldn't do like a pork stock. I would probably keep it to like a chicken stock, or in my case, this is a turkey stock, okay? And so, the first thing I'm going to do is just quickly strain out all of my components into the poaching vessel for the chicken today. This is the vessel where the chicken is gonna be slowly cooking, and everybody, remember, poached chicken is not the same as boiled chicken. This chicken is going to be cooked gently. This chicken is going to be cooked juicy. So many people, parentheses, because of TikTok, have begun to fear water-cooked chicken. They say, oh, it's boiled bland chicken. Everybody, I promise you this chicken is going to be anything but bland. It's going to be delicious, it's going to be sumptuous, and it's going to be mixed into a flavorful sauce. Water cooking chicken, not boiling it, poaching it, my friends, in warm water, not boiling, will result in not that chalky texture, but something much, much more elegant, okay? So, I'm going to go ahead, grab my strainer, get this bad boy all into the pot for today. All of it in. Just so that we can get this out of sight and out of mind, my friends. And once again, what did I put in here? I used up all of my existing vegetable scraps that I had in my freezer, specifically just my leek tops. Remember how we did a stream a few weeks ago when I talked about how to use the leek tops? This is where you would use it. You would use it in a chicken stock. I added some mushrooms, some dried shiitake mushrooms for extra meatiness. I added some bay leaves for a nice aromatic quality. And then I also added the smoked turkey bones, the smoked turkey necks to, actually be the bulk of the stock itself. Okay, and so we might not necessarily use all of the stock today. Just getting the last of it out. Awesome. And now, my friends, I'm gonna put my pressure cooker pot away. All I did was I combined those ingredients, put it into the pressure cooker, and let it go for about 50 minutes or so. Okay, so while we're at it, we're going to poach the chicken in this liquid, but we can continue to make it even more flavorful. How do we achieve that? Well, we have all of the other existing vegetable scraps for today. We have the carrot tops, we have the celery tops, and we also have the onion scraps as well as a couple of cloves of garlic. We're also going to be using the cilantro stems. The goal is to perfume the stock, to give it some character, my friends, to give it some love, and to make it above all else incredibly delicious. That is why homemade stocks are so powerful, and that is the magic of poaching chicken. It is how creative it is. You get to put in any aromatics that you would like. So that's exactly what we're going to do. That's what we're going to begin now, my friends. So, I have this leftover carrot, and this was one of my main inspirations for today, my friends. I wanted to use up all of the different existing produce that I had in my fridge, whose time it was to go. Okay, and so normally we would discard the tops and the bottoms, but the tops and bottoms, they do have a little bit of flavor to offer us. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and slice them off. And instead of throwing them away, I'm gonna add them into the poaching liquid. Now, it's not gonna make that much of an effect, especially that little, but it is still going to contribute just a little bit, my friends, okay? And so, while we're at it, we're just going to quickly peel up this carrot for later, for safekeeping. And then we'll cube it up and get it all ready to go to put it into the chicken pot pie. And so, your choice of vegetables, everybody, that go into the chicken pot pie is entirely up to you, right? I'm gonna be going for a very classic sort of French vegetable combination here. That is the carrots, the onions, the celery. And then I'm also gonna be doing green peas, but you could add in potatoes if you would like. You could do broccoli in there, you could do cauliflower in there. Honestly, I don't think there is a single vegetable that would be a bad fit for a chicken pot pie. I love doing corn in it. Guys, chicken pot pies, I can keep going on and on about, but this was one of my favorite restaurant foods as a kid. Whenever I was at a restaurant, especially at an American restaurant as a kid going out, I would almost always get a chicken pot pie. And I wanted to show you a much more viable home way to do it, okay? So, I'm gonna get this carrot out of here. Next, my friends, normally, again, we do discard the tops and the bottoms of the celery, just because they tend to be a little less flavorful and they tend to be more fibrous. So, all I'm gonna do is snap it off. I'm gonna snap it off. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to, as you might have guessed, I'm going to add them right back in to my pot. And all of those, my friends, they're just going to continue to infuse into the stock and make it nice and delicious. Why is the chat chilling Mexico currently? Honestly, I think it's because Yokomoto asks when's the next time I'm gonna make a Mexican recipe, and the answer is sometime soon. I feel like we did so much Mexican food when the show started that I kind of burnt out on doing the same thing over and over, and so I just want to do some new stuff for a little bit. So, I'm gonna get the celery out of here. Next, my friends, we have the humble little onion. One simple little onion, and of course, for a chicken pot pie or for any dish, you can substitute any alliums that you would like. If you want to use something I don't know, if you want to use leeks, if you want to use shallots, if you want to use scallions, my friends, guess what? The world is yours. The world is your oyster. You get to have anything that you would like in something like this. So, I'm going to cut off the top of my onion. Consider encebollado. It's an Ecuadorian fish soup. Ooh, what kind of fish goes into encebollado? Because I have some frozen shrimp. We could do that with some salmon and some shrimp, I would imagine. That sounds delicious. But tell me about encebollado. Albacore? I don't know how easy it would be for me to get albacore though. I do really like fish soups. Maybe we'll do a fish soup sometime. Okay, as I'm peeling this onion head, guys, take a look. The top of it is a little bit dirty. So all I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to remove this layer, and then I'll get this bad boy thrown into the pot with everything else. And while we're at it, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the onion and we're going to slice this bad boy in half. We're going to peel the outermost skin. The outermost skin we're completely discarding. right? There's a little bit of dirt trapped under there. That's why I don't always love just including the straight onion skins as it is. Okay, and then I'm going to quickly rinse it off, and I'm going to add the top layer of flesh. Everybody, the top layer of flesh, it might seem a little bit wasteful, but it tends to be the most papery part of the onion. It tends to be the one that's like the most annoying to chew. It tends to be the most annoying one to get through. So I'm just going to peel it off and add it, as you might have guessed, back into my stock pot for today. And we're going to do the same exact thing with this little guy right here. Okay, so I'm just peeling it. I might not do the same thing with him, honestly. I think we have plenty of alliums inside. I used a whole bunch of leeks inside of the stock. This bit is a little bit spoiled, so I'll just go ahead and pluck that off. And come on, buddy, off you go. The most papery, the thinnest part of the onion, guys. You don't have to waste it. You don't have to throw it away. We can still get all of its sweetness. We can get all of its flavors infusing into the stock. And that is why poaching chicken, and especially making your own stocks, is so creatively liberating, I think. So I'll put this onion behind me as well. Next, what other vegetable scraps do we have today? Even though we're not using scallions inside of the chicken pot pie itself, what we can also do is add the scallion bottoms, my friends, because the scallion bottoms also have a little bit of flavor to offer, and we normally would just be discarding that, okay? Just have some of them going bad a little bit. So I'm just going to take them, and these have been thoroughly washed. They have no sand remaining in them, okay? You want to make sure that they're nice and clean. There we go. Gonna slice them off and add them into my poaching liquid. Excellent. Everybody, this is going to be a really delicious chicken pot pie. It's going to be thick, it's going to be glossy, it's going to be creamy, it's going to be loaded with vegetables. It's going to be really, really tasty. Last but not least, the ingredient that I feel like would be the most dissonant compared to a lot of the other flavors that we have, we're going to do some cilantro stems. Now, not really the most common herb that you would see. We're doing like something vaguely Western European inspired, something vaguely like French-ish. You don't see a lot of cilantro, but it's still going to be delicious. We're just going to use up the existing stems that we have already because the cilantro is going to be used towards the salad. So let's go ahead and use it and infuse it. Ooh, that was an unintentional rhyme. I love cooking, but this is something new. Welcome on in, Wildcat Rebecca. How'd you find the cooking show? I'm just going to go ahead and get all those delicious little cilantro stems, and we're going to save them and use them for the poaching liquid for the chicken. Okay. Nice and simple, nice and easy. Go all the way through it, my friends. And again, I don't really like to cook, or rather, I don't really like to eat cilantro stems directly. A lot of people do, but for me, I find them oftentimes to be quite woody. I'm going to go ahead and just quickly rinse off my knife, actually, so that the food doesn't dry to it, so that my hardened steel knife doesn't rust or anything. Okay, just gonna quickly wipe that off, and then we'll come back to the cilantro. It's going to be a little bit repetitive. There is no fast way to do it, everybody. You just kind of have to get through it sometimes. Okay? Not everything in life can always be super optimized. Some things, they just require an active human hand and an active, delicate touch. So, in the meantime, while we're doing such a repetitive task, I'll have you look at me instead. And this would be an excellent time to ask me any and all questions that you may have. So again, everybody, my inspiration for this today, it was based off of all of the different leftovers that I had in my fridge. I looked in my freezer and I had two things. I had leftover phyllo dough, and I also had some leftover frozen chicken breasts, okay? And so that is the way that I want to get all of you guys into the habit of cooking at home. I don't want you, I mean, sometimes you can make something that you want without looking at the things that you first have. But home cooking, above all else, it needs to be practical and it needs to be functional. What does that mean? Well, it needs to feed you and it needs to use up things before they go bad. So many people, my friends, they get so overwhelmed by cooking because you buy all of these ingredients for this one dish and then you don't know what to do with the rest of it. And that's why herbs go bad. That's why things spoil. I want to get you guys excited and to show you a different dimension of what can you do with all of this different produce. Okay, home cooking is not supposed to be what you want all the time. Home cooking is supposed to be an intersection between what meets your nutritional needs, what you have available for you so that you're not spending money all the time, and something that you eat. So that requires us to do a little bit of compromise. Sometimes that compromising doesn't feel so bad, right? Because we can think of all the different things that we can do with it, and we can find what aligns with what we want to eat the most. Okay, so And guys, once again, if your goal is not to be an excellent home cook, if your goal is just to be able to throw the occasional dinner party or something, guess what? You're welcome to do so as well. But for those of you that want to establish a good home cooking routine, and for those of you that want to learn how to do that really, really well with a lot of like love and integrity, well, that's what I'm here to help you guys out with. Okay? But some people, their home cooking is purely limited to like, you know, they'll have like the same thing every single day for lunch, right? They'll have the same sandwich over and over. They'll have the same breakfast of eggs over and over. Dinner, they'll usually do a takeout. And on the weekends, they might want to entertain somebody with their cooking. If that's what you want to do with food, everybody, be my guest. That is just not something that works for me because I need variety in my life. You know, I need variety. I love having a variety of different dishes that I eat. I get sick of something after I eat it 3 consecutive days. And after that point, I just want something completely new. And that's what we do here. We do the show 3 times a week. This is all my home cooking routine. Cilantro, slowly but surely, getting plucked, getting processed, getting all those lovely little leaves out. It's happening. It's just taking a bit of time, but that's okay. Also, GlowMe13, welcome, and thank you so much for the Prime sub. I really appreciate it. Okay. I need variety with every other meal, but I eat the same exact breakfast every day. Yeah, Slothra, guess what? If that's what works for you, then that sounds like an excellent plan. Some people, they eat the same breakfast for their entire lives. You know, me personally, I don't actually eat breakfast. My first meal of the day is at 2 p.m. And then my second meal of the day, it's usually dependent on my streams. But I try to shoot for around 7 or 8 o'clock. I eat those 2 meals and I'm in and out. Okay, everybody, I have all of these lovely cilantro stems. And guess what we're going to do with them? We're not going to throw them away. We're going to add them into our poaching liquid. Also, Drem, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. I think we have a hype train. Everybody, thank you so much. I'm not gonna lie, every time that we have a hype train on Twitch, it's kind of difficult for me to get like hype about it because I don't really fully understand it. I feel like a boomer a little bit when I see it and I just go, yeah, I guess that's cool or something. Okay, I am going to go ahead. Oh, you're now official cabezas? Well, welcome on in. Nice name change. Okay, everybody, all of my cilantro. This is gonna be prepped. This is ready for slicing later on for when we actually end up doing our salad today. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly see if I can adjust this light slightly. Okay, wonderful. So, what else do we need to do? We still wanna be able to get as many different aromatics in there as possible. Everybody, for today, guess what? We have this bell pepper, right, that we were going to do in our salad. Even if the bell pepper is not going to find its way into the chicken pot pie itself, well, let's just go ahead and use all of the scraps from it. I'm gonna show you how to get the bell pepper into planks, my friends. Ready? So, we stack it up. We're going to take it and we're just going to shave down the sides, my friends. And we're going to keep all of the white part and all of the seeds on the inside, okay? Keeping it nice and steady, keeping it stacked up, we're just shaving it down. Beautiful, just like that. We're taking it and we are shaving it down, my friends. That is the easiest way to prep a bell pepper. Get it nice and flat and ready to go in some planks. And so this little guy, guess what we can do? We can go ahead and, as you may have guessed, we can just put it directly inside. I think I might just quickly pluck off the stem though. The stem sometimes tends to be a little moldy, it tends to be a little old. That is the one part that I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of, okay? We're just minimizing scraps and we're making the most out of it. That's all that we're doing now. Okay, last few things so that we get a nice, flavorful, delicious stock. We're going to need a bunch of salt, everybody. So the goal of this poaching liquid is to season the chicken as it cooks. Okay, if the stock is completely bland and not properly salted, any salt that we might have put onto the chicken itself is just going to dissipate, or dissolve rather, into the greater water itself. Okay, and I think I could say something osmosis about this, but really the goal is you want to have a salty stock, you want to have a salty piece of chicken so that the chicken stays salty. If you have a salted piece of chicken and you put it into just boiling water, the water is going to leach out all of the salt. So we need to achieve an equilibrium here, okay? So I hope that helps explain that a little bit. So we're going to go in, my friends, and this is a completely unsalted stock at the moment. I have some kosher salt, and I'm going to go in with a whole bunch of generous pinches Okay, kosher salt is almost like hollow on the inside, so that is not nearly as much salt as you think. It's just easy for us to pinch. I'm going to just mix it in, and then we're going to taste the stock, right? We don't have any raw ingredients in here anymore, I mean just the raw vegetables, but I'm mostly just going to taste this to make sure that it has the correct salinity. Okay, I really want to make sure it's not too salty. I don't want to make sure that it's undersalted or anything. So let's give it a little taste. Everybody, let me tell you right now, that is delicious. That smoked turkey stock that we made, mwah. I love having smoked turkey necks inside of my fridge, inside of my freezer rather. They're just so convenient because you get to pull them out and it adds in a little bit of oomph to anything that you make. What kind of salt? I always cook with kosher salt Yokomoto. Okay? So this is not the time to only salt at the end. Correct, Serena. Because everybody, if you were to take the chicken pot pie, the stew, and salt it all at the end, you're going to get a sauce that is so salty, but all of the vegetables and all of the meat is just going to be completely bland. The goal is to season in layers so that the salt is able to evenly penetrate everything else. Okay? So, tasted that. That tastes fantastic at the moment. And you already know that's going to make for an amazing sauce for the chicken pot pie later on. I'm going to quickly rinse off my knife one more time. And just wipe it dry. And then we're going to go ahead and gently poach the chicken. So everybody, again, you can get creative with whatever aromatics and scraps that you have to use up here. So there's a final salting. We don't have to be perfect in step one. That's right, Serena. You got exactly everything that I just said now, and absolutely listen to me. You did it. Okay, so everybody, this is going to be the really crucial step that I feel like a lot of people do not understand, and that is differentiating between boiling and poaching. So I need to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, from everybody watching, please and thank you. I need to make sure that you all understand this concept that I'm about to unleash upon all of you. Okay? So, again, everybody, so many people, they get into this idea that chicken in water equals bad. And this is a very contemporary push because of two reasons. First of all, a lot of people, parentheses, white people that grew up in the Midwest, they have come to have an association with boiled chicken and shredded, dry, chalky chicken, and it's super unpleasant. Second of all, TikTok has had, unfortunately, a very strong influence on the things that people say about food, sometimes for better or for worse. Boiled chicken, the hatred for boiled chicken, is very much so a TikTok sentiment. Okay? Everybody, let me tell you something right now. There are so many beautiful dishes out there that utilize poached chicken. For example, Hainanese chicken and rice. Okay? Hainanese chicken and rice, the chicken is not dunked in boiling water. That boiling water, it'll overcook the outside of it and make it into chalk. The goal is to never get past a gentle simmer, my friends. Okay? You want to be very gently simmering, very gently bubbling. Because if the heat is too high, the outside of it will overcook before the inside of it actually gets done. Okay? So essentially, the colder the water is, as long as we're still in the realm of cooking temperature, the more gentle, the more evenly it's going to end up cooking. And that's what poaching is. Blanching is to dunk something in boiling water. Poaching is a lot more gentle. So we're going to go ahead and begin that, my friends. We're going to go ahead and get that processed. And so the only thing that we need to do, I have these chicken breasts, I have this chicken tender. I'm going to go ahead and just heavily salt it, my friends, in just a moment. Okay? We're going to salt it just so that we make sure that, again, we achieve that equilibrium. We want to make sure that the chicken is salted as well as the stock. Okay? Doesn't matter how much water you're using when you're poaching. So, official cabezas, that's a really good question. It only matters for the amount of salt that you're adding. And you want to make sure that everything is nice and covered and that everything is nice and submerged. If it's not covered, if it's not submerged, then it's not going to cook up evenly. Okay? So, does the amount of water actually matter? Nope. It only matters how much salt that you add to that amount of water. So I hope that answers your question. Going in, just going to go ahead and heavily salt the chicken, my friends, because remember, a lot of the salt is going to end up dissolving into the greater cooking liquid. So we want to make sure that we're almost over seasoning the chicken at this stage, and that is how we make sure that the chicken ends up actually properly seasoned. Okay? So, Going to go back in, and we might remove the chicken tender before the chicken breast because they're both obviously very different sizes. They're going to take very different amounts of time to cook. My chicken breast is still a little bit frozen, but everybody, that's also the magic of poaching. If you didn't thaw your meat in time, okay, you can still actually properly cook it with gentle poaching. You can't sear it, you can't cook it like a steak or anything, but you can poach it till completion. So, not fully thawed, right? And even then it's gonna come out delicious. Everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my chicken, and we're just going to dunk it, and we're going to submerge it. And we're just going to get it inside, and we just wanna make sure that it's nice and properly covered. If a little bit pokes out, it's not the end of the world at all, but keeping it on there. I will be taking off the chicken skin off the breast once this is done cooking. And so we can also quickly talk about the meat choices after I get this up to a temperature. So everybody, all that we're going to do, we're just going to heat this up until the water registers, I want to say like maybe like 170, 180, 190 degrees or so, but we don't want it to aggressively boil, okay? So going to go ahead, take it, set the heat on, my friends. And we don't need to even like temperature probe this. We just want to make sure it never visibly boils, okay? So Slothra asks, are there pros and cons to salt texture, kosher, table, flake? Really good question. So kosher salt is the most commonly regarded as the ideal salt by chefs because it's hollow on the inside and you're able to still get a very nice big pinch, okay? You're able to get a nice big pinch of salt. You're able to get a nice big scoop of salt. And without it being like too dense or too salty. I really do not like rock salt. Rock salt, I find it very difficult to gauge how much you're using. The reason you would use flaky salt is to garnish something because it's really thin and crispy. And table salt you would do when you want to dissolve some salt, but food is cold. The issue with kosher salt is it's sometimes so big that it's difficult for it to dissolve quickly. Table salt is almost exclusively used for like salad dressings. But everybody, in my home, I only use kosher salt, okay? I only use kosher salt. I would use flaky salt if I had some, just to be able to garnish some stuff and to be able to make it delicious. Chef, can I ask a generic question about searing? Absolutely, Tarina, you are welcome to do so. Okay. Does room temperature or even warm meat sear any better or worse than fridge temperature meat? So that's a really good question, Serena. And it is dependent on a few factors. It is dependent on a few things. Specifically, it has to do with the actual size of the piece of meat. When it comes to really thin meat, the temperature of it doesn't really matter all that much for searing, honestly. It just tends to be a little bit stickier when it's lukewarm or so before it gets like hot. Otherwise, for a really, really thick piece of meat, let's say like a roast or something, that you definitely want to make sure has come up to temperature in that time. Okay, everybody, so let's talk about the choice of meat that we're using. A lot of people, they like to say that chicken thighs, they say that, chicken thighs are better than chicken breasts. They say that chicken legs are better than chicken breasts, that dark meat is good and that white meat is not good. Everybody, time and place. I don't want to use a chicken thigh for this because think about it this way. Chicken thighs, chicken legs, dark meat, it's very rich. It's very fatty, it's very sumptuous. This chicken is going to be going into a creamy sauce that is thickened with flour and heavy cream. The last thing that I want to do is to include a piece of chicken that would be a lot more rich. Now, the benefits of using something like chicken thighs is that it tends to stay a lot juicier because of the fact that it is fattier, as well as a couple of other properties about it. But I really want to use chicken breast for something like this, and it's not going to come out dry, so as long as we gently poach it. Again, everybody, there's nothing wrong with cooking chicken in water as long as you know what you're doing. I know I've repeated myself a lot about this, but there's so many misconceptions about it, and I want to break those misconceptions. I want to break those stereotypes, and I want to show you how delicious and special it can still be, right? Not everything has to be seared. Not everything has to always be pan-fried. Not everything has to be deep-fried, okay? Sometimes poaching is delicious. So, my chicken is going. Again, we never want to see it bubbling. We never want to see it boiling and toiling. Okay, as soon as you see some little bubbles come up, that's when we'll really drop the heat. And I'll be doing most of the cooking lid on so that the water doesn't really evaporate too much. So, what do we have to do in the meantime? We need to make the spice blend for the chicken pot pie. Specifically, all of my delicious dried herbs, my sage, my thyme, my rosemary. We have to cut up all of the vegetables for the chicken pot pie, which is just going to be the carrots, it's going to be the onion, it's going to be the celery and the garlic. And then we need to begin making the sauce for today. The sauce, I'm going to teach you a French technique called a Roux, R-O-U-X. because this is one of the most important things that anybody can learn, is how to make a good flour thickened sauce. A good flour thickened sauce, guys, it can take you just about anywhere that you would like it to. Okay, it's really, really helpful to have in your back pocket. So we have to begin a whole bunch of prep. Let's go ahead and get that going while the chicken is cooking, everybody. Does anybody have any questions for me in the meantime? So I have my onions, we have my carrots, and we have my celery. In French cooking, this is called a Mirepoix, my friends. Okay, in Italian cooking, this would be, I don't know, called like a sofrito or something. So the idea of an aromatic trinity is really, really important to a lot of cuisines. That is how you can make them taste vaguely of that cuisine. In Cajun Creole cooking, you have green bell peppers, celery, and onions. In French cooking, you have carrots, onions, and celery. In a lot of, Latin American cooking, it's not as much of a trio as it is like a combination of tomato, onions, spicy chilies, cilantro, sometimes culantro, and garlic. Okay, your aromatic trinity is so important in cooking because it basically puts you on the map, okay? So that's what we have going on here. But again, guys, feel free to use any combination of vegetables that you would like for something like this today. That is the magic of a chicken pot pie. So I want to get a very, very small dice on my celery because I hate biting into chunks of celery. I want to get a small to medium dice on my carrot to make sure that it cooks in time. And then I want to get a medium dice on my onion so that I'm able to bite into chunks of it. Guys, the way that you cut your vegetables matters. This is not something that you just want to completely rush. Is it important to cook a roux thoroughly in case the flour contains any nasties? Hell, Spark, not really. I mean, it'll still all boil away, still all cook away, so I don't really think that's the case. I'm gonna grab a nice little mixing bowl just to be able to put up all of our cut up vegetables in. Or rather, actually, I think I could just use the plate I'll save for the other ingredients. Okay, we're going to start with the onion. Everybody, 2 onion halves, root still attached. We're going to go for a medium dice, and we're going to begin by simply fanning out the onion, my friends. You want to keep it intact, attached at the root. Keep it intact, go all the way, okay? And we've nicely and properly fanned it out. Now that we fanned it out, just cut it up. 1 small onion for today. Again, I am not making a crazy amount of chicken pot pie at all. I'm just making enough to last a couple of portions because we're doing a back-to-back stream tomorrow, okay? So, there you go. Everybody, whenever your cutting board starts to look a little bit full, when it starts to get a little uncomfortable moving around, make yourself the space. Go ahead, take that onion, scoop it up with a bench scraper, and then we can go ahead and proceed, okay? Give yourself all the space that you need. You don't have to keep working on a surface that is all cluttered. So, fan it out. Fan it out, making incisions. Okay. Salmonella is my guess. So Boudreaux boy, yeah, a thing that, or rather, excuse me, Herald Spark. Yeah, flour actually gets contaminated quite often. I do think flour sometimes gets contaminated with like salmonella and stuff. In order to avoid that, we never eat raw flour. It is still going to cook in the liquid, so you don't really have much to worry about regarding that. Everybody, medium dice, medium dice. The onions, they tend to shrink down the most. Why is the show doing a back-to-back tomorrow? It's because I'm going to be out of town doing my job. I'm an esports commentator. I'm going to be traveling for an event. I'll be doing an announcement in my Discord if you'd like to watch it live. Guys, exclamation mark Discord, but it's going to be broadcast on twitch.tv/Brawlhalla. That's BRAWLHALLA. So that's why we're doing a back-to-back, just because I'm going to be out of town. And so I wanted to make it up to you guys. Okay, so no Friday episode and no Sunday episode is what I'm saying. We're just gonna have today and tomorrow. Okay, next, my friends, celery. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. I love the flavor that celery adds, but biting into a raw chunk of celery in a soup or in a stew is maybe one of life's most unpleasant tastes. For me, at least. I hate the texture of raw celery in a soup or stew. So, I want to go ahead and get these into a super, super fine dice compared to an onion. Taza, you like it? Well, I like raw celery just by itself, but raw celery or undercooked celery in a stew or a soup genuinely sucks. It is just not pleasant. I very rarely say objectively in the kitchen. This is one of those few times that I'm gonna say objectively. It objectively sucks. Okay, everybody, my stock, my chicken, it is gently, gently poaching now. I'm going to slightly lower the heat, keep that lid on it, and we're going to slowly cook it, okay? I like raw celery, I just don't like raw celery in my soups and stews. Everybody, we're going to go around the celery itself, and we're going to make a bunch of really, really thin slices. All the way through, all the way around, as thin as you can go. As thinly as humanly possible, everybody, because I refuse to have chunks of undercooked celery in anything that I make, okay? I like to find a little super stew in my raw celery. I see Dosky. Does nobody else agree with me? Does nobody else see what I'm seeing when it comes to raw celery? Do you guys just like raw celery in your soups and stews? Do you like biting into crunchy celery? Okay? We went around the vegetables. Bunch of thin little batons, my friends. And now we take the batons, we stack them up, okay? And I'm going for the thinnest possible dice. We're going for a very, very small dice here. If it's raw, I don't think it would. That's right, Harold Spark. But in my case, the function of the celery is to function more like an aromatic, as opposed to a textural component. I want to bite into carrot. I want to bite into onions. All of that stuff sounds delicious. Biting into celery, not for me. So, going through it, prepping it. But cut on a bias. So Tarina, that one is a little bit more valid. The celery that's cut into soups, it's like a big chunk of it, and it's cut on a bias. I actually quite enjoy that as well in something like a chicken soup. But for whatever reason, a small, tiny, undercooked piece of celery, when it's like a small piece, I hate it. I hate it more than anything. So you know what, Tarina? You are onto something. I don't know why. I tend to prefer it if it's like bigger and, you know, still has a little tiny bite to it. You do have the right idea, though. Okay, why is my table shaking so much today? I don't know. That's a little annoying. Everybody, nice small dice. Small dice. All the way through. Chef, you look like the Hamburglar's 80s retro design with the striped shirt. I don't know what the 80s Hamburglar retro design looks like, I'm afraid, Eskia. I have a lot of energy. Thank you, Wildcat. I appreciate it. Coming from somebody named Wildcat Rebecca, I feel like that's a high compliment. Okay. Also, everybody, once again, if you'd like to support the cooking show, exclamation mark Patreon with patreon.com/Daramgar. My goal is to be able to do this full-time one day. And so any and all support there is really appreciated. Okie dokie. Take it and add it into the bowl with all of our onions. And guys, again, I love my bench scraper. Just able to clean up my station as I go. Okay, excellent. What do we have left to do, everybody? It is time for the most challenging bit of produce. It is time for us to go ahead and do the carrot. Okay, we're going to go ahead and cut it in half really quickly. And this is where people, I feel like, struggle with the most. People really, really struggle with cutting carrots. Everybody, especially if you're a little bit newer, especially if you're a bit of a home cook. I have a question for all of you. Who here struggles to get carrots into nice small little pieces? Do you find it too tough to work through? Do you find it too tough to chop, to be able to cube? It might be easy to cut it like this, but let's say we wanted to cut slices off of it. Okay? I'm curious who struggles with this. And in the meantime, I'm gonna have a little sip of my favorite beverage, some seltzer. Everybody, the reason why you're struggling is because you're chopping and not slicing. Okay, chopping and slicing are not interchangeable mechanisms. Techniques, I think would be the right word, okay? So, if you chop, my friends, the knife is gonna cleave out and you're going to get a weird little wedge of carrot instead of a nice flat plank. What you wanna be doing instead, everybody, with a nice sharp knife, okay, you wanna be able to slice all the way through it. Because when you slice it, guys, look what happens. You get beautiful planks of carrot. Planks. There you go. Look at that. Excellent. My carrot's a little bit older, so it's a little bit softer than like a really nice fresh carrot. But guess what? In a chicken pot pie, that does not matter at all. I'm going to have my pot cool down a little bit because it is currently simmering a little too aggressively at the moment. Okay? So, come on, buddy. I'm going to have you chill out. I'm going to have you relax for a second. Just put that on a super, super low temperature. Okay? Because again, we don't want it boiling. We want it poaching. Big difference. Okay? And slice it. And slice it. There you go. And we're achieving all of these lovely planks. Does having a knife as big and sharp as yours help? It does. Specifically, a sharp knife, guys, you never need a dull knife in a kitchen except when you're trying to hack through bone. In that case, you just really want to have a lot of impact. But having a long knife, it only depends on the size of the vegetable that you're cutting. Because everybody, think about it. A short knife, this long, has half of the ability to slice as a longer knife. Okay, and you want to do this in one even stroke. So the longer the knife, the larger of a food that you can go ahead and slice it. Chef, why are the portions so small in fancy restaurants? Eskia, that is an amazing question, and for you, I have an amazing answer. Everybody makes fun of, especially Michelin-starred restaurants, and they make fun of the super, super small portions. Everybody, let me tell you about this, and this is a concept that I'm really passionate about, and it is in defense of fancy restaurants, which I never do, in defense of expensive restaurants. So, when it is an actually good fancy restaurant made with integrity, and not just some whatever restaurant industry group, but if it's a really, really good fancy restaurant, the reason why portions are small is one of two reasons. First of all, the goal is to have a lot of different little things. Especially in like a 10-course tasting menu, if you got a full portion of something, you're just full. You want to be able to split it up over the course of hours and have a bunch of little bites of something. The next concept, everybody, is something called palate fatigue. I'll give you a really good example of this, something like a steak. I love eating steak. I have 5 slices of steak. By the 6th slice of steak, I'm going, The ability to taste something diminishes the more that you eat it over and over in quick succession. Having an entire steak by yourself, the thought of it is quite pleasing, but no bite will be as good as the first or second or third bite. Afterwards, you start getting diminishing returns, my friends. The reason why fancy restaurants have small portions is so that you're able to not experience the palate fatigue and that you're able to experience multiple things at once, and also to, in a good point, temperature loss as well. Yeah. So, cutting it up into batons now. So that is in defense of fancy restaurants, but not all food is supposed to be like that. Sometimes you want to shovel in like, guys, we're making a chicken pot pie today. This is not something that we're just gonna have a few bites of, you know? For the carrots, I want the nice small to medium dice because I love having chunks of carrot inside of my pot pie. I do wish I had some extra carrot, guys, but guess what? This is all about using leftovers. So if it's less than the ideal amount of carrot, guess what? It's okay because I didn't have to go and buy any. Cut it up into batons, move it around, and cut it up into some nice proper cubes. That's what I'm talking about. I want to be able to bite into a nice little chunk of carrot inside. Okay? Keep it going. And then we'll save all of the odd pieces for last. Just going to quickly check on the chicken, actually. Just make sure that it is indeed just barely poaching, and it sure is. Everybody, I'm going to go back into the chicken, and I'm just going to flip it, and I'm going to flip it to ensure that it's evenly cooking. How long is it going to take? I don't know. Maybe depending on the thickness of it, depending on the width of the breast itself. That is a fat breast that I have. That thing is going to take maybe like 30-40 minutes, especially because it was a little frozen on the inside. The chicken tender might be close to done in about 10 minutes or so. Nice Ness-inspired top. Thank you, Kaze. I want more people to appreciate the fact that it's mostly just because I really like Ness from Earthbound and not Freddy Krueger. And every time somebody sees this, they go, oh my god, red and black striped shirt? You're like Freddy Krueger. So Kaze, you're the only one to like kind of get what I'm going for, which I really heavily appreciate. Okay? The odd pieces, we're not going to be able to stack up, so I'm going to have to cut them all individually. Am I a Ness main? Oh boy, I'm a Ness main. Serena, do you know how much Ultimate I've played? Do you know how much Ness I've played in bracket? Do you know how much Ness I've watched? Do you know how many Nesses I've coached? Do you know how much Ness I've taught to people? I love Ness so much, man. He's so cool. Okay. Cube it up. Cube it up. There she is. All of my carrots, all set and ready to go for today, everybody. Okay? That's okay. You don't have to feel bad. Don't worry about it. Everybody, we got my carrots, we got my onions, we have my celery here. Okay, and all that we're going to do later on is we're just going to fry these. We're going to properly and beautifully fry these in some butter. Dollar an actual gamer, I only know you're casting, and of course the best cooking show on Twitch. As Kia, I used to be a competitor, but I really wouldn't call myself a gamer because I kind of hate most video games. I don't really think I'm a gamer as much as I am just like a competitive one. Okay, so carrots, onions, and celery, everybody. Classic French Mirepoix. Next things that we have to do, again, my herb blend. We have to do the garlic, we have to do the peas, and we have to start measuring out my butter and my flour as well for today, okay? So there you go. That's all set. I'm going to put that behind us now. Let's go ahead and begin prepping some garlic. And everybody, because we have like, I think this is going to be a relatively sort of bland dish today, right? It's going to be like this rich sauce. It's going to have a lot of cream in it. I want to make sure that I'm really amping it up with all of the different aromatics and flavors whenever we get a chance to. And in my case, one of those flavors is going to be garlic. A lot of people, especially recently, they get really, really up in arms about like, oh, you're not using a million different spices. Guys, there's plenty of aromatic ingredients that have a lot of flavor to offer, garlic being one of them. So, for the small little chicken pot pie, I'm using 5 cloves of garlic for today. You're allowed to use as much as you would like. I'm crushing it to separate the skin. And we'll repeat that with each and every single one of these. Smash it, smash it, smash it. Excellent. And then we'll just get a little peel. Get a little peel, get it done with, my friends, get it out of here. Oh yeah, all of that garlic, properly crushed, properly dealt with. Okay, going in one by one. Oh, I think we just had the Discord link posted, Cabessa, so it'll be right above the chat, well, right above your message, hence why you didn't get the prompt to work. Okay. Excellent. I'm going to quickly rinse off my fingertips because it gets a little bit sticky at the stage, and I do not like how sticky it is at all, quite frankly. My chicken is continuing to gently poach, everybody. It's looking fantastic. Again, as long as the temperature is low, it's a little difficult to overcook it. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and cut the butts off of all of my garlic cloves because they're dried off and they're not that good to eat. Right, you wouldn't keep the butt of an onion, you wouldn't keep the butt of a garlic. I'm not sure, honestly, if you'd even be able to taste it, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. I don't know. That's like one of those things that's like good practice, especially in bulk, but if you leave one garlic butt in, it's also just not going to be the end of the world. I'm going to grab one of my favorite kitchen tools, everybody, and something that I think all of you should, quite frankly, own. A handy-dandy little condiment cup, and as always, we're using a garlic press, because cutting garlic by hand is sticky and annoying. Chef, have I seen the menu with Anna Taylor-Joy? Eskia, I have. And I hope Anya Taylor-Joy likes women. That's all that I can say. I think the movie was so cheesy. It was so cheesy. And the discourse that it had to offer on like pretentious fine dining, it's very like 15 years ago. But did I like it? I thought it was fun. In the same way that I find like Doritos fun. I find Taco Bell fun. Like, I like those things sometimes, but it's not good. Not to be, like, elitist about it, but, I think those things are fun. But are they good? No, not at all. But I will, I do love Doritos, though. But that's not even me giving criticism. I'm still able to acknowledge the fact of the fact that I was able to enjoy it. I'm not being pretentious about it. I think I'm not, at least, I'm not discount. It's a little industry. It's a little industry. It's a little pumped out. It's more of like a cult film, really, than anything. It's like an occult movie. And I think it needs to be appreciated with that lens, with that context. I don't think it offers particularly meaningful social commentary as much as some people would like to think it does. I think the discourse that it provides on the status of fine dining is very, very, very dated. Okay? So, getting all that garlic out of there. Those are just the larger chunks of garlic that didn't get through this little garlic press. Do I have a dishwasher? I do have a dishwasher. And speaking of which, everybody, guess what we do when we cook? We clean as we go. When we're done with the garlic press, we want to poke those holes. Poke it with a brush, right? Get all of that garlic out of there, because if it dries up, it's going to be so much more difficult to clean later on. The things that you always need to clean immediately are things like blenders, things like food processors, things like cheese graters, and things like garlic presses. Other dishes like plates, yeah, you can let them quote-unquote soak for the 8 hours until you finally muster up the ability to go and do the dishes. But the garlic press, guys, wash it immediately, and it's gonna go immediately into my dishwasher. Okay? I'm also gonna quickly get rid of my chickeny plate and wash up my hands with some soap and water. Okay, so we have a few of the components that we need for today's chicken pot pie ready so far. Oh, Askia, I feel like I feel a little creepy thinking about that question, so I don't think I want to answer that. I think that's the most amount of like romanticizing a celebrity that I think I can get away with, so I don't want to go that much further. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my garlic away behind me, and we can get rid of my little butter knife. Okay, so again, these are just the veggies for the chicken pot pie today. Next is gonna be the green peas. The green peas, they're frozen, they're in a bag. Guys, I love green peas. They're really, really tasty. I find them really delicious. Lately, I've been cooking more, and while cutting ingredients, I think of you, chef. You are an influence. School of Rock and Roll. I find that very beautiful and inspiring that you think of me as you're holding a weapon and unleashing it upon produce. I really hope everybody thinks about me when they're wielding a weapon in the future. Thank you. That's very sweet of you to say. What's up, chef? I was busy, but now I'm back. Glad you are still cooking. I'm always going to be cooking, Sue Specs. Absolutely. Today's not going to be the shortest stream. Today's not going to be the longest stream either. I think it's going to be like right around the 2-hour mark in total. Okay, everybody, we're going to go in and quickly temp our chicken. Now, for something like a chicken pot pie, it doesn't have to be perfect, but for today, I need my chicken to be cooked around, I'm gonna say 135 degrees internal temperature. Now, for all of you guys that are going to be like, oh my God, that's raw on the inside. Yeah, I know, because it's still going to bake after. Everybody, if you perfectly cook this chicken right now to 155 degrees, what happens when you bake it again? It's gonna become overcooked, dry, and unpleasant to eat, everybody, okay? And that is not what we want. And if everybody wants nice, juicy, moist, delicious, perfectly cooked chicken, we have to undershoot it. I wanna hear a nice resounding yes, chef, please and thank you. So, to my little tiny cocotte we go. My chicken has been gently and slowly poaching in that stock. I'm just going to grab an internal thermometer, but also everybody, if you overcook it, who cares, because it's a chicken pot pie. But I'm looking, I want to show you that home cooking can still be technical and delicious. Okay, I want to show you that home cooking doesn't always just have to be like, you know, rushed and kind of sloppy and whatever. I want to at least put in the effort to try. I want to try to make things nice, you know? So, I'm going to go ahead and grab that. I'm gonna grab my thermometer. I think at this point, my chicken tender should be more than ready to go though. I think my chicken tender might even be in the realm of overcooked, as it does read successfully. It does indeed read as overcooked for us. Well, not the thermometer, but you know. The chicken tender can be long gone already. Away she goes. And now, we're going to go ahead and get my chicken breast and see how cooked it is in the thickest part of the chicken, my friends. And at the moment, honestly, it's already reaching 150. I can't believe that it got through that fast. Yeah, that chicken breast is more than cooked, everybody. That chicken breast is done skis. She is done. She is all set. She is all ready to go for today. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove it, and we're gonna let it cool down a little bit before we get to cutting it up. Okay, just gonna quickly get rid of all of those scraps. And of course, everybody, we will be indeed straining out the stock. We'll be straining it out so that we can go ahead and get all of that cloudy stuff gone. We'll get all of the little vegetable bits out of there. So all of that can and will be taken care of in just a little bit of time. Okay, so that's my chicken stock. It's nice and delicious. It's nice and flavorful at this stage. I just want to give my chicken stock, well, I'm gonna quickly re-bring it to a boil for 1 second just to make myself mentally feel better about it, and I want to taste it. I want to taste it for salinity. I want to see how rich it is in flavor. I just want to see how it's doing, everybody, okay? I want to check up on my food. So, grab that really quickly. Let's see how she's doing. Guys, that stock, this stock right here, that is amazing. Am I pre-baking the crust? No, Sue Specs. We're going to be doing this crust today with phyllo dough. This is going to be a phyllo pot pie. That's the really, really fun and exciting part of that. Guys, that stock, it is smoky, it is salty, it is herbaceous, it is nice and aromatic, it's nice and delicious. Only thing I'm going to do now, just so that the solids don't over-extract and to make straining easier later on, my friends, I'm going to grab the spider, I'm not scraping the bottom, okay? And I'm just going to get the biggest solids out and into my waste bowl. The solids have indeed contributed all of their flavor. They have been extracted properly, and it's all going to come out nice and delicious, my friends. So, away they all go. They have done their job. They're essentially flavorless at this stage. There really is no point to eating them, so don't get any funny ideas. If you want to eat boiled vegetable scraps, I don't know, be my guest or something, but that is not for me. everybody, okay? I have no intention of doing so. So the rest of it is of course going to get strained out, so don't you worry about that. Okay, I'm very excited about that. I'm very, very happy about it. I'm gonna get rid of my spider now. Okay, I'm gonna move that behind us, and then we're going to go ahead and get the other pan ready to go. That's going to be specifically used for making the rest of the stuff for the pot pie today. This is where we're gonna make the sauce. This is where we're going to add everything, combine it all, and it's all going to come out nice and delicious, my friends. So that's done. Let's go ahead and make the spice blend, or the herb blend, rather, for today. Okay, so I'm going for this very like standardized poultry seasoning mix kind of feel. Okay, so I was thinking I want to do oregano, I want to do sage, I want to do thyme, I want to do rosemary. You are welcome to use any combination of herbs that you would like. Do you want to do dried coriander seeds? Absolutely, go ahead. Do you want to do some marjoram? Go ahead, my friends. It is entirely up to you and is entirely within your ballpark. These are the spices that I have at home, and so what we're going to go ahead and do is just grind this down. We're going to measure some of it out, grind it down, and we're going to obtain this nice aromatic little powder. So I'm just gonna grab a measuring spoon of some kind somewhere, just so that we have a rough idea of how much we're adding of everything. I want it herbaceous, I want it flavorful, guys, okay? This is gonna be a rich, creamy sauce. So the rosemary is the one that I would go the least amount on. Right, rosemary, it can be quite intense. Also, if you have fresh herbs, if you have fresh rosemary, if you have fresh thyme, go for it. In my case, I have dried herbs in my pantry from my roommate, so I'm gonna use those up first. So my rosemary in total, I'm gonna do maybe like half a teaspoon of dried rosemary. The rosemary is gonna be the one that I go the lightest on, in addition to the thyme. Okay, well maybe the thyme we do a little bit more than that. So that's a quarter teaspoon. And these are not already ground, we're going to grind it ourselves. So 1, 2. Cool shirt, thank you, you just done. Do I feed my roommate? Yes, I surely do. That I do with pride. I make sure that I cook, when I lived with my mom, I always cooked for her, right? So this is not just for me. Otherwise, it would not really make all that much sense in a home cooking routine. Okay, next, I'm going to add maybe just shy of a teaspoon of oregano leaves, my friends. And then, my favorite herb in this little selection that we have here, I have some glorious, some beautiful sage leaves. Guys, I love sage leaves. I think sage leaves are really, really tasty and really, really delicious. Okay, so I'm going to do maybe like 2 teaspoons of sage leaves. I'm just making sure I'm not really including the stems, because those can get a little tricky to actually grind down properly. Okay, so again, the combination of herbs, everybody, it is totally and entirely up to you. I'm doing dried thyme, I'm doing dried rosemary, I'm doing dried oregano, and I'm doing dried sage. All of these herbs would be ideal if they're fresh. Good luck, Sia. Well, thank you, Justin. I hope you have a good day today. Ideally, you could do them fresh. I feel like dried oregano is the only one that I ideally keep in my pantry. Chef, don't like grilling or cooking, say chicken with spices, absolutely blast the spices, don't they just get burned? Askia, it depends. Sometimes you can intentionally burn them in a technique called blackening, right, which was traditionally used for fish and chicken, and it's a very restaurant-y thing. You have to really manage your temperatures correctly. Okay, you have to be really, really careful with it. Okay, so to stop those herbs from being too woody, to stop them from having too much of an unpleasant texture inside of the final product, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and grind it down into a nice proper little powder. Okay, so I'm just quickly getting all of the other spices out of my spice grinder. I'm going to dump it inside, and we're going to obtain a nice, beautiful little powder and get it ready to go for today. Does anybody have any questions for me at the moment? Take it, plug it in. Come on, buddy, in you go. Please, thank you. And you know what to do, everybody. Grind it. You want to get a nice fine powder. Grind it up. Until it's all done. Occasionally I like to slap the top down because some of those spices get stuck up there. I still got a few stems to take care of. Okay? And And I think that should be perfect, everybody. We have an aggressive amount of dried herbs for today. Because again, I wanted to be able to cut through all of the richness of a sauce quite like this. Does a bullet or blender work? Slothra, I think they would be way too big. And I really wouldn't do them in a blender because the flavor and the smell of spices, it gets stuck in the plastic, it gets stuck in the glass. So you always want to have a dedicated spice grinder. This is just a coffee grinder. They're cheap, they're 15 to 20 bucks. I would not use the same one that I would use for coffee though. Okay? So, there you go. That would be my suggestion for you. Okie dokie. So, those are done. Let's go ahead and get some cayenne pepper inside. Just because I want a little bit of heat. I don't have any dried chilies at the moment to use up or anything. I'm just going to get, guys, I don't measure my cayenne. What am I doing? Are you serious? There we go. Bunch of cayenne. I want some heat. I want some spiciness to it. I don't want it to just be herbaceous and creamy. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and quickly put all of my spices back into the pantry just for safekeeping. Okay? When you cook at home, everybody, you always clean as you go. So, keeping my spices simple. And that's going to be perfect. And again, some of you guys might be like, oh, what are the exact amounts? What are the exact proportions? I don't know if anybody was like that. Honestly, guys, for something like this, it really doesn't matter. And for dried herbs, those are the ones that you can always adjust on the fly. There is no exact perfect ratio or anything, in this case at least. Okay? So, come take a look. There she is. Beautiful. Okie dokie. Nice. So, what's the next thing that we have to do? Well, we're going to need to measure out some flour. So everybody, I'm going to be teaching you the techniques and the fundamentals behind making a really good roux. A really good roux, R-O-U-X, is the basis of a bechamel. It is the basis of a white sauce. It is the basis of gravies. So, a very nice, easy way to start, everybody, is the following measurements. 1.5 tablespoons of all-purpose flour to 1.5 tablespoons of butter to 1 cup of liquid. Traditionally for a bechamel, that would be for something like a milk. Now, in my case, I'm looking for something a little thicker. I'm looking for something a little bit glossier. So, instead of doing 1.5 tablespoons of butter and flour per cup of liquid, I'm going to be doing 2 tablespoons of butter and flour per cup of liquid, and then we'll be able to thin it out as much as we need. But it's difficult to get it more thick than we actually need. Okay? So, I need to figure out, roughly, how much liquid do I even have to work with today. Okay, I want to be able to transform all of that stock into a bechamel. I'm looking at it, everybody. Oh, not into a bechamel. I'm just to make like a nice thick gravy out of it. I'm looking at it and I'm approximating that is about 3 cups. Okay? And if it's a little bit more than 3 cups, we can always go ahead and save some and use it for the future. So we're going to make 3 cups of this delicious creamy sauce today, my friends. So let's go ahead and measure out those ingredients. 3 cups equals, wait, hold on. That sounds like a lot. 6 tablespoons of butter, 6 tablespoons of flour. No, that's crazy. That's too much. That's way too much sauce, probably. Let me look at this one more time. That's more like 2 cups, and we're going to thin it out with more heavy cream. Well, won't really thin it out, we'll just make it just as glossy. We're going to do 2 cups of sauce. We're gonna do 2 cups of sauce. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of butter. No, I lied. 4 tablespoons flour, 4 tablespoons butter, 2 cups of broth, and then we'll add heavy cream and broth as we need it. Got it. Okay, those are the measurements for today. I'm looking for something thick. I'm looking for something starchy. Okay? So, again, normally in cooking, I don't really measure things out like this. I'm normally never exact like this, but for a flour thickened sauce, I do think it is quite important, especially if you're a little bit newer to it. Okay? So, in 1 container, once again, everybody, equal parts butter to flour. I'm going to just go ahead and open this bad boy up. I've never had chicken pot pie. I've heard it's gross Midwestern white people food. Not true at all, Count JP. Chicken pot pie is delicious and beautiful, and you heard it from me, okay? And I am the authority. Everybody, I'm telling you that chicken pot pie is delicious. I need to hear a nice yes, chef, please and thank you. 2 cups is like half a liter. I don't know my liters. American measurements are not that crazy, guys. I don't know my liters, though. Okay, so 2 tablespoons of flour. It doesn't have to be like perfectly leveled or anything. It only really has to be leveled if you're making like a lot of it at once. We're going to do 1, Going to do 2. Fine, we'll do 3 tablespoons, we'll do 3 tablespoons of each. I've thought about it in my head, I thought about the viscosity of it, and in my mind I'm going, yeah, this is just gonna be 3 tablespoons of each, in my case. 3 tablespoons of flour. And if you don't get it perfect, it's still gonna be delicious, by the way. So don't stress about it too much, everybody. Put that away behind me. Next, I'm gonna get 3 tablespoons of butter, and I'll add it directly into my saucepan. Just for some nice, proper safekeeping. I'll get my heavy cream out in the meantime, while I am, wait a second. Do we not have any more butter? Hello? No, there we go. Whew. Guys, I got scared for a second. I think we're on our last stick of butter though. My household running out of butter? Never has that happened before. Never. Okay, 3 tablespoons. Where is it at? It's gonna be 1, 2, 3, right over here. Okay, and this bad boy, guys, I'm just gonna add this directly into my saucepan. Okay, because we're going to be first cooking the vegetables, then we're gonna add the flour, and then we're going to be adding in some of our liquid components. So this bad boy goes into the fridge. This little spoon can go ahead and get thrown into the dishwasher in the meantime. Okay, excellent. Oh, everybody, everything is all coming together. Okay, so let's do a little recap session. We're making a chicken pot pie today. We have made our delicious stock. We've poached our chicken breast in said stock. We've cut up all the vegetables. We've measured out the flour and butter. We've made a spice mixture. Now what do we have left to do? We have to saute the vegetables. We're going to get a nice beautiful color on it. Then we're going to add the flour to it. After we add the flour, we're going to slowly whisk in the stock and add in the heavy cream, my friends. And we're going to get this delicious, rich, glossy sauce. We're going to chop in, or rather, I think I'm going to shred up my chicken. I don't want to do cubes of chicken. I like the way it soaks it up when it's shredded. And we're going to add some frozen green peas. We're going to put it into a tray, top it off with some phyllo dough, and it's going to be lovely. It's going to be magnificent, and it's going to be delicious. In the meantime, I'm now going to preheat my oven. The exact temperature for phyllo dough, honestly, anywhere between 350 and 400 is going to be good. So I'm deciding arbitrarily, completely, 375. 375, and I'm just going to have that begin to heat up, my friends. So that's going. That's good. Everything looks excellent at the moment. Everybody, I believe it is now going to be time for us to start thinking about how to saute these vegetables. So come with me to my saucepan. Everybody, I need to hear a nice Daramgar, chef, because I'm going to teach you how to master stainless steel cookware. The goal is this, everybody. We will never use a high heat. We only use low to medium. Because if you do a high heat, you're going to get hot spots and cool spots, and food is going to stick to those hot spots and cool spots. Because we're cooking with butter, everybody. Remember, butter is not a pure fat. It is not just butter fat. It is a little bit of liquid, and it is a little bit of what we call milk solids. If the butter is too high of a heat, then it ends up burning, because again, it is not a pure fat at all, my friends. So, here is the order of operations. First, we're going to take advantage of our existing fat, and we're going to saute the vegetables in said fat. We're going to develop a nice beautiful golden hue on them. Then, while they're still coated with all of that fat, we add in our flour, and we make sure that we slightly begin to toast the flour, and that the flour coats all the veggies. From that point onwards, everybody, to get a beautiful, glossy, smooth sauce, all that we really need to do is to really slowly incorporate the stock, everybody. We don't want to dump all of it inside. The starch gels up and you get a bunch of weird little lumps. The key to a beautiful sauce, everybody, will always be to slowly whisk it in. Okay? We add that in, we'll add the chicken in, we'll add the peas in, and then we'll top it all off, and it'll be delicious and it'll be fantastic. Okay? So what can I do in the meantime, guys? This is what we now call passive time. When we don't have something always active to do, we can take this time to clean up, put a few things away, etc. In my case today, I have the strainer that is currently being occupied with all of my vegetable scraps. Okay? I want those guys gone because I'm going to use the same exact strainer just in the interest of reusing dishes. I'm just going to go ahead and save this. I would never have believed I would find this on Twitch. Well, I find that very sweet. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you. I try my best. Okay? Just gonna quickly rinse off my strainer, everybody. Just to get all the stocky stuff off of it, because this is going to go back in to strain the stock, although I don't actually think washing it was all that important, if we're being honest. Okay? So, guys, once again, low, medium heat or so. You don't want this butter to brown. I'm not looking for those toasted buttery flavors in this today. I want to just have something clean, something rich, something fatty, but not browned butter, okay? In cooking civilizations, no one chooses to cook with a stainless steel pan. Count JP, well, I mean, there's a lot. I think that was bait. I think what you just said was just pure bait. So I don't really know how to interface with that. Guys, look at all of that gorgeous butter. That butter is going to coat the vegetables as it cooks, and it's going to help it to nicely and properly cook up evenly. Okay? So, here is the key. You do not begin browning the vegetables. You don't begin sauteing them in the first stage of cooking. Because onions, carrots, celery, they're all wet. Okay? They're all wet. They have so much water inside of it. You will not get any browning on it in the first stage besides a very superficial browning. You need to first collapse it by cooking it, and then evaporate the liquid, and then only when the liquid evaporates will the vegetables be able to saute, my friends. So the fat doesn't have to be too hot. We add all of our veggies in. Any sizzling that happened will die down in just a second's time. Okay? All of my vegetables, all of my vegetables, all of it in, guys. All of it in. Awesome. All of it inside. There she goes. Okay? The sizzling has died down. The cold vegetables have cooled off the pan, but that's okay, guys. It's not gonna brown at the stage. It's not gonna burn. It's not gonna get any color. The first thing that we're going to do, in the interest of getting everything nice and evenly seasoned, is we're going to salt it. We're going to salt all of our layers. The stock does not need any salt, but the vegetables themselves are quite bland at this stage. So, the veggies get a nice good amount of salt. And now, my friends, you can hear a little bit of sizzling, but that sizzling, I promise, it'll be gone in just a moment, especially if we slap a lid on it and we help it to steam. The sooner that we cook this, guys, the sooner that we can evaporate it, and the sooner that we can actually begin sauteing it. So, you hear that sound, my friends? It's beginning to go psst a little bit. It's all gonna be gone in just a moment, though. I'm gonna put a lid on. The steam is going to help to evenly cook the vegetables. Okay? There she goes. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna get rid of a couple more vegetable scraps. If anybody has any cooking questions, this would also be an excellent time, as always is, but now especially more so, would be a lovely time to ask yours truly. We're going to get a thick, delicious, creamy sauce. I see a lot of chicken pot pies just mostly be based on just like milk or something, or just on heavy cream. And guys, I'm gonna be honest, I hate these sauces that are just made with heavy cream. I find them completely inedible. For example, like a restaurant Alfredo, you get a big portion of pasta and it's like a cup of heavy cream. It just makes you feel bad to eat that. You can get rich, delicious sauces that are not 100% heavy cream. When you're frying chicken, how do you keep the batter crunchy? Slothra, I'm going to change your question here, which is, I will reject your question. I will reject your premise. I don't fry chicken at home. I do not fry chicken at home because I think frying is messy and it's a little inconvenient, especially in an apartment kitchen. Makes a mess, a lot of oil. Oil isn't the cheapest. Then you have to dry it off, pat it off. It requires a lot of surface area. I just do not like frying chicken at home, excuse me. So how do I keep the batter crunchy? Well, Slothra, that's a good question. The answer, there's a lot of different answers for this. First of all, you would want to be able to use, the more like really like starches that you use, not just like straight flours, right? Like things like potato starch, things like corn starch, those will all help stay nice and crispy. Also, what people do is they do two fries. They do a low temperature fry and they do a high temperature fry to be able to starve out as much moisture out of the crust as possible. And after the low temperature fry, what happens is the meat inside cools down enough so that it doesn't overcook when you do the high temperature fry. So the double fry method is quite popular, Slothra. I'm just cooling my chicken down enough that I'll be able to handle it easily. Okay, so everybody, guess what? I'm going to say right now with confidence that my vegetables have begun to collapse, my friends. As you can hear, the sizzling, especially now that, ooh, excuse me, I just burned myself with that glass lid. It fell onto my hand. Especially now that we've steamed it, my friends, the steam traveled around the vegetable. If we didn't put a lid on it, it would take a lot longer for the vegetable to collapse. I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to mix it around just to make sure that everything is evenly cooking. Scrape off anything that could be beginning to stick to the bottom, guys, and you can hear that a sizzling is slowly beginning to form as the water evaporates off of the vegetables. Low, medium heat. Okay, this is a marathon, not a sprint. You do a high heat and you're going to begin browning the butter in ways that I would say are quite honestly unpleasant. Okay? So, get it going, get it happening, and we're going to begin properly sauteing these vegetables. Could you theoretically just boil all these vegetables if you wanted to? You could, but we do miss out on a lot of flavor. Because a very important rule in cooking, guys, is that color equals flavor. Browning things, sauteing them, searing them, right? There's a reason why steaks taste delicious, right? So browning them is just going to help us add another delicious little element of flavor. But if you just want to be able to rush to the next step, just find any way to quickly get them nice and cooked. It doesn't have to be sauteed or anything. It doesn't have to be all that serious, guys. It just depends on your intentions. There you go. She's coming along. And we're going to develop some nice, beautiful color on these veggies. A whole bunch of butter. Okay. Wonderful. So everybody, while that's going, again, we never want to step away from this too long because we could overdevelop the fond, we could burn the veggies on the bottom. We want to keep this on a low, medium heat and stir it fairly often. But let's go ahead and make the most amount of this time. It does not need to be completely babysat, okay? What is that going to entail? Let's just go ahead and get my chicken prepped and ready to go for today, okay? So, everybody, chat, what do we think? Do we think cubes or do we think shredded chicken? I'm at the moment more inclined to lean towards shredded chicken because I love the way that shredded chicken, it like soaks up sauce. You're basically creating like a mop out of the chicken. As opposed to, guys, how many times have you had like a chicken soup or like a stew or like a pot pie with like these dry chunks of chicken inside of it and throughout? I find that to be quite unpleasant. So, I think I'm going to be deciding for myself here, without your input, I'm going to be just going ahead and getting it nice and properly shredded, my friends. Just make sure that none of the veggies are sticking up to the sides of the pan. The sides of the pan is where they can burn the easiest. That is where it's the driest without any fat. Okay, so I'm going to tie up my hair. I'm going to grab a few gloves and we're going to shred up that chicken, guys. Okay, get it proper, get it all set for today. I'm just going to go ahead and reuse this bowl while we're at it. Just always in the interest of using as few dishes as possible when we cook at home. Okay. Oh, everybody, you can hear the sizzling has now properly begun. A lot of the water has evaporated. Right, so again, you want to stir it often. Why? Well, the vegetables are very irregular in shape. If you just sort of keep them in the same exact position all the time, only one side of it is going to get colored. And you want to mix it, and as you mix it, you scrape up the bottom, guys. Low, medium heat. There you go. The veggies are beginning to ever so slightly brown. Mix it up, flip it around, set it, and we can come back to the chicken. Okay, so I got this lovely chicken breast here. I'm just going to quickly peel off that skin. While chicken breast skin is delicious when it is crispy, chicken breast skin is not so delicious when it is just sort of gummy and cooked like that, okay? So, not the most pleasant thing in the world. Everybody, I have this delicious little chicken tender here. It's been poached up in the sauce beautifully. It still is retaining a nice little bit of juiciness to it. We want to be able to get as long fibers as we can possibly muster. I don't want to have any big, thick chunks of chicken, because then it's just going to be bone dry when you bite into it. Not really what I'm looking for, okay? So, shred it up, my friends. Shred it up. You can use your hands, you can use a fork. There's really no bad method for something like this. You know, it really has taken in the flavor of the poaching liquid. Much more than you guys would think, which is surprising. It might be just mostly what is on the outside of the chicken itself. I mean, meat doesn't really absorb flavors as much as like some people would like to think it does. But the thinner it is, the more like surface area that it has to be in contact with said poaching liquid. Aren't bones wet? What do you mean, aren't bones wet? School of rock and roll. I have no idea how to answer the thing you've just said to me. What do you mean by that phrase at all to begin with? Okay, guys, look at that chicken. It is not bone dry on the inside. Again, I would have ideally liked to undershoot it more, but even if it's going to be shredded, it's still going to be really, really nice and delicious. The chicken breast is perfectly cooked. Just if we were to eat it by itself. For something like this, it's definitely a little over though. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to quickly come back to my veggies, guys. Again, stir it often, maybe every minute or so. If you stir it too much, it's going to cool down the pan too much and it's not going to brown at all. So there you go. My bones are wet right now, think about it. I mean, I guess. Godzilla's. I don't thinking, like a lot of people say they're like, ooh, I get freaked out thinking about my bones. I get freaked out thinking about my skeleton. Not me. I do not care, Godzilla's. So, I'm afraid your tactics of making me self-aware about my body, it's not really working out for you. Sorry to say. Okay. Keep going, my friends. Keep going. Oh, and we're gonna get a bunch of black pepper inside. I think that was like a trend on the internet for a little bit when people would be told like, oh, think about your bones or something. Or you're just trying to do something for Halloween. Were you trying to scare me, Godzilla's? So, shred your chicken. Get it done. And guys, again, you see how thick the shredded chicken is? You think that's gonna soak up any sauce? It is not. You want this chicken to become a mop, my friends. Okay? And if a mop was just comprised of super, super thick fibers with no space in between, it's got nothing to mop up. Got nothing at all. There you go. Shred it up. Shred it up. Oh. I love shredded chicken, guys. One of my favorite dishes of all time. I love tinga. I love tinga tostadas especially. I love tinga inside of enchiladas. I love tinga in tacos. Tinga is like the most like consistent, like safe option of like, this is always going to be consistently good at like any Mexican place that you go out to. Guys, I think we're due for like another tinga stream at some point. Get some tomatillos, do like a tinga verde. We did tinga like a year ago. Yeah, I think tinga is one of my favorite things to do in a home setting. It's easy, it's delicious, it's excellent. I love tinga, and you can put it into anything that you'd like. I like doing just straight rice bowls with it for something quick and convenient. Started using a hand mixer for shredding chicken, surprisingly effective. Yeah, electric. That's a very, very valid method to do so. I find that sometimes it gets you too thin of shreds, but for something like a chicken salad, if that's like the texture that you want, like a very, very fluffy shredded chicken, that's going to be exactly what you're looking for in that case. Guys, going back to my lovely vegetables, stirring them up, they're getting nice and golden brown, and we'll soon, I promise guys, soon we will be able to begin building that delicious sauce on the inside, okay? It'll be delicious. I'm quite excited about it. Guys, do you see how big this chicken breast was? This thing was huge. But yeah, if we have these too thin of shreds, like I know I said I wanted to mop up the sauce, but it would like lose all of its bite, especially in like a cooked dish like this, you know? Make a tinga pot pie. Godzilla, that sounds tasty, but that sounds like a little like too rich because like I don't really want like a fatty crust with like that kind of a filling. I'm imagining that in my mind and I'm going like, you know, the flavors sound fun, but that doesn't, I don't know about that one actually. If I had to shred 10 pounds of pork ago and those gimmicky claws, they actually kind of rocked. That's okay, those claws, I mean, are sometimes used by like good barbecue places. So you don't have to worry about them just because Cooking with Jack used them once. And people complain about him being a unitasker. If they helped you with the job, then go for it, man, you know? So, guys, take a look. All of my shredded chicken. I'm just going ahead and getting it into slightly smaller pieces. You want to keep the length of it. If it's too short, it's not going to be able to absorb anything. Okay, so just keep the length of those shreds, guys. Keep the length, and keep going. Okay. Jack collab when? When he unblocks me on Twitter. I asked him if he supported trans rights once, and then he blocked me. On Twitter is what ended up happening. Even after I have a t-shirt of his and anything, Oh, can't believe it. That guy's, he is quite the guy. Okay. All of this chicken, nice and set. I'm gonna go ahead and throw away my gloves now. Let's go back to the veggies. Okay. Once again, just onions, carrots, and celery. They're cooking up in the butter. I don't want to brown the butter too much. So this is what I'm going to say. The majority of the sauteing stage begins to end. First, we want to fry the black pepper. We want to fry the black pepper so that it gets nice and properly infused into everything else. If it's just raw black pepper, it'll still be tasty, but this is how we bloom it. It infuses into the oil and it keeps a lot of the fresher flavors of the black pepper as opposed to just toasting it or boiling it. So get it inside, grind it up, everybody. Grind it up, grind it up. And I want an aggressive amount of black pepper, okay? That's, I think, exactly that. That is exactly what I've asked for. That is indeed an aggressive amount of black pepper, everybody. And we're going to fry that to let it toast slightly, to let it infuse into the oil. Oh yeah, that'll be perfect. Okay? So, what happens now? First, we have to cook the garlic. If we add the garlic immediately, alongside all the other vegetables, the garlic would end up burning. So the garlic is going to be added roughly at about the same time as we add the flour. Once we add the flour, everybody, we want to mix it in and form a paste that coats all of the vegetables. Once that paste is formed, we will slowly, guys, I need you to say yes, chef. We will slowly add the liquid. We will slowly add the stock. If you add it all at once, the flour is going to gel up. All of these people say, oh, you should always have hot milk or something, I don't know, hot milk, and they say cold flour, hot flour, cold milk. It's all nonsense. The most important thing is that you trickle it in very, very slowly at first because you don't want all of the flour to immediately gel up, guys. So make sure your strainer is ready. Make sure that your ladle is ready for when we begin, which is going to be in just a moment. Okay, that's all set. That's ready to go. Now, garlic first. Well, and as long as we're on a low-medium heat, we don't have to worry about the garlic burning all that much. We add the garlic in, and we're also going to let that fry and infuse and get delicious. I'm going to start off with a wooden spoon for the flour, and then once we actually get to making the actual sauce, that's when we'll go on over to a whisk. Okay, so I'm frying up the garlic, everybody. It smells delicious. It smells aromatic. Okay. Smells lovely. At the moment, it's just vegetables and, you know, a little bit of black pepper, but that is by itself enough to perfume a kitchen, I must say. So, toast it up. Fry up your garlic until it's nice and fragrant, slightly golden. There is no exact amount of time, by the way, for this. Like, a lot of people ask, oh, how long should you fry your garlic? I don't know, man, until it smells good and it doesn't smell burnt. That's all. Don't overthink it too much. Okay. Now, we go to a medium heat, everybody. No longer on low. It is time for us to begin toasting our flour. Again, 3 tablespoons of flour to 3 tablespoons of butter, and that's going to be for roughly 2 cups of stock, plus however much additional cream that we add. I like to start off with a wooden spoon. Okay, you want to scrape the flour off as much as possible. It's not going to look amazing at this stage, but guys, this is all going to transform into a delicious, velvety, creamy sauce. You want to move this around. You don't want your flour to cook up in these little tiny gelled up clumps, okay? So, that looks wonderful. That looks good. Strainer, ready to go. Awesome. Into the strainer, we start off with, you guessed it, 1 little tiny spoonful of stock at a time. 1 tiny spoonful goes in, and guys, mix up your roux, mix up the flour paste, and get it to all congeal. It's going to get thick, it's going to get pasty, and that is what you want. You can even do like a low-medium heat for this. Scrape up the sides, scrape up the bottom. Next, strainer comes back on. Ideally, I would have pre-strained the stock, but I was a little bit lazy today. Another ladle goes in. Awesome. Guys, mix it up. Get this paste forming, okay? This is the stage where it is most critical to be very gentle. Only 1 ladle at a time. And mix it up. It's going to look lumpy. It's going to look pasty. It's not going to look like a sauce yet. Everybody, Trust the process. Trust the process. Okay? Is everybody trusting it? Good. Now, especially when you have vegetables involved, it can be a little bit tricky at times to ascertain whether or not you've worked out all of the lumps. But guys, just give it enough time and I promise you it'll be okay. I'm gonna grab a whisk and now I'm going to begin using the whisk to break up the lumps. Some of it is going to get stuck inside of the whisk. It's going to all come out though, so don't you worry. It's all gonna come out. Just whisk it and whisk it and whisk it into oblivion, everybody. Whisk it, whisk it, whisk it. Get those sides. Get into the corners. Do not miss a single spot of this lovely little starchy paste that we're beginning to build. Okay? Now, that we're at this stage, you know what we're going to do? You guessed it. Stock. In goes yet another ladle. In goes another ladle. Whoop, hold on. Get back in there. Thank you. I should have pre-strained my stock, but that's okay. Whisk it up, my friends, and whisk it aggressively. You do not want to add more until this looks smooth and homogeneous. So it's homogeneous. Well, rather, it's getting a little bit smoother. You can see it's starting to pick up a little bit of texture, but we definitely have lumps that we need to work through right now. We have a lot of those lumps, and we do not want any of those lumps. Okay? So again, remember, if you add all of your broth at once, if you add all of your milk, or all of your stock, or all of your cream, any kind of sauce that you're making, that's when it becomes lumpy. You do it this way, you will not get a lumpy sauce, my friends. Okay? And it looks a little bit lumpy because of the garlic, because of the black pepper, because of the vegetables, but I've done this so many times that I can tell you with confidence, this is not going to be a lumpy sauce at all. Okay? So, whisk it up. Everybody, whisk it up. The more whisking you do now, the less you need to do later on. Okay, it's all getting there. She's all coming together. Next ladle of stock, guys. So, come on. Get this guy on. Thank you. Ladle of stock goes on. In she goes. And everybody, before the starch gels up too much and forms those little lumps, right? We whisk it in. Don't go too aggressively at first because it'll splash. So first, just get it somewhat combined, and then you can whisk it to your heart's content. Ooh. Beat that sauce like it owes you money. That's right. And we don't add the peas or the chicken here, by the way. It'll destroy the texture of both. The vegetables that we have in here are still mostly raw at this stage, so we can get away with treating it like this. Okay? So, it'll be nice and smooth. It'll be nice and silky. Just trust the process. Oh, okay, wonderful. Does anybody have any questions for me in the meantime while we're doing this laborious process? Work out all of those lumps. Work it out. And now that we're at this stage, everybody, this is when you could probably add the rest of it all at once. Would gochugaru fit into the recipe, chef? As Kia, I would actually maybe say this is one of the times where I would say no. I don't think like a chili powder with a lot of flavor would do this dish like a lot of wonders, especially in like a creamy sauce. I don't think so. Can we do this in an enameled cast iron? Serena, only if you have a silicone whisk. Only with a silicone whisk. So many chefs, they show you how to do these in enameled Dutch ovens and whatnot. And I quite frankly believe that that is a mistake because they only show you with a metal whisk. If you have a silicone whisk, by all means, it's just that silicone whisks, they tend to be a little bit softer. So it's a lot more difficult to get a very good hold on the sauce that way, I find in my experience. Okay? I'm also going to just get the rest of this paste off of that wooden spoon. Mix it in while we still got a chance. That might make it lumpy, honestly, but I don't really care. Okay. Add it in, whisk it in. And now everybody, let's go ahead and do the rest of the stock now, all at once. Nice low heat. Grab my strainer. Come on. Ugh, I should have pre-strained my stock, everybody. Guys, if you're doing this for yourself, learn from what I say, not as I do. Please, for the love of God, strain your stock ahead of time so that you're not doing this terrible, terrible method that I'm showing all of you guys right now. What about a pan with rounded corners? Would that still work with the heat distribution? Yeah, all of that should be okay. In fact, the saucier might even be ideal, is what you're talking about there. All right, adding that in. Gonna move that away. And everybody, whisk it in before the starch gels up and lumps up in weird ways. All right, so whisk it in now, and it's all going to come together in just a little bit. Wonderful. And now we have what is essentially a nice, delicious, glossy gravy, my friends. Whew. Okay. It's glossy, it's smooth, right? And it's still not fully thickened. We want to go ahead, take this up to like a medium heat or so. We're going to bring this up to a gentle simmer, everybody, and we'll let this cook down. But right now, you just still want to keep going in and get any little teeny tiny pockets of flour that have gone unmixed, okay? Because that is just going to help to continue to facilitate thickening this lovely pseudo like gravy sauce thing that we have going on. And in the meantime, I'm also just gonna taste it to see how cooked is the flour, how is the salinity at the moment. Guys, oh my God. That, even with the raw flour taste, that is delicious. This right here, well, right, okay. That's my fault. I honestly deserve what just happened to me. I have another whisk somewhere. I deserve all of that, truthfully. So, quickly going back in there and salvaging this before it clumps up with anything. That was on me. That was truthfully all my fault. I was very, very careless for a moment there. Okay, well, that's going. That's happening. I apologize about that, everybody. I just gotta get another little coaster plate of some kind in the meantime. The urgency to whisk it up immediately is a little bit gone at the moment. It's not that I dropped it, it's that it fell out of the pot, guys. Hoping to get any on my red and black Nest t-shirt. Not a Freddy Krueger shirt. Contrary to popular, very, very popular and very frequent. Oh, this is my roommate's whisk. It's coming undone. I had a very nice whisk, guys. I had a very, very, very nice whisk. We're so back. When I start dropping things, that's how you know we're actually back. Ugh. Oh, I miss him already. I miss my other one already, guys. All right, we just want to bring it up to a simmer. We'll add in the heavy cream. We'll add in some of the fresh herbs. It'll be delicious. Whoa. Taste that a little bit. Guys, this would be like perfect just as a sauce by itself at this stage. This is just a gravy. This is what gravies are, by the way. For those of you guys that don't know, for those of you guys that are home cooks, gravies are just stock plus flour plus fat. And it's made in this exact same method. Sausage gravy is sausage. You get the sausage fat, you cook the flour, and then you add in some milk. Right? A sausage gravy is basically like a bechamel made from sausage fat. That is how important this technique is, guys. It is used absolutely everywhere, and I mean everywhere. It is used all over food. Okay? So, that is beginning to just very, very gently approach a simmer. Okay, so once this does begin simmering, we're going to keep tasting it to make sure the raw flour taste is gone. We're going to add heavy cream. We're going to add the herb mixture that we made to infuse. And once it's satisfactory, we'll add in the green peas, and we'll also add in the chicken. It'll be tasty. Oh, come on, buddy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let it go. Let it simmer for just a moment. That's what I always do, bring it up to a simmer and just let it go for about a minute's time, and it really helps it to thicken up. Finishes the gelling process of the starch. I'm gonna go ahead and just get my heavy cream container opened up in the meantime. And the heavy cream is just gonna help it to make it nice and rich. Nice and viscous, nice and smooth, nice and silky. Beautiful. I'm poaching chicken currently, heat on low. Official cabeza, that's lovely to hear. I hope it comes out well. What are you gonna make with it? Wow. I am quite excited about this dish today, guys. I must say. Okay, let's taste it. It's getting glossy. Wow. Amazing. Truthfully, incredible. Add in the heavy cream. In she goes. Not too much of it. I have no idea how much I'm adding, guys. I'm just completely approximating here. Add it inside. And it's going to initially thin it out. But as we cook the cream, it is going to reduce slightly and help it to thicken. So, we've added it inside. Let's come back and bring this guy up to a simmer once more. Ecuadorian style arroz con pollo. I'm using brown rice. Ooh, official cabeza, that sounds delicious. Only thing is, for brown rice, you gotta make sure that you're doubling up on your timing, because brown rice takes a very long time to cook. I would also really heavily recommend soaking the brown rice beforehand if you haven't done that yet. Okay, and now everybody, while we're in the process of reducing this mixture, while we're in the process of thickening it, let's go ahead and add in some of my herb mixture, my sage, my thyme, my rosemary, my cayenne. And we're not gonna add all of it at once in case we don't wanna add all of it, right? So we start off with just a little bit at a time, scraping off the sides and whisking everything in. Get into the corners, get into the crevices, get up the sides. Make sure that no flour is being left behind. There you go. There she goes. So, it looks thin, but it's going to get there, everybody. Has Chef tried the brown rice setting on the zojirushi yet? I did, Serena, and honestly, soaked rice plus the white rice setting has yielded me even like just the fine results that I'm looking for. That has always been just fine for me. Okay, while that's cooking, while that's reducing and getting thick, let's go ahead and put away a few things that we don't need at the moment. And yeah, we'll just keep cooking. We'll add in the peas, we'll add in the chicken, and then we can go ahead and properly assemble this lovely little pot pie that we're making today. And every so often we whisk it up because the starch tends to stick to the bottom and it tends to stick to the sides as it cooks. We don't want that to happen at all. So get in there, make a bunch of little circles. Wonderful. The flour is going to stop the heavy cream from splitting, of course. I'll taste it now, see what the herbs are doing. Everybody, that tastes like Thanksgiving. That actually genuinely just tastes like Thanksgiving. That is perfect. I gotta do more smoked turkey next, Docs. That is awesome. Wow. I am pleased, I must say. I am very pleased, to say the least. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw a few things into dishwasher. I have a wooden spoon that I gotta get rid of. I have a whisk that I've gotta get rid of, the one that fell onto the floor tragically, sadly. Put it away, get them out of here. Get these containers gone as well. How's it looking, everybody? I think that looks quite good. And now it is coming up. It's coming up to a boil. Normally, with heavy cream, you have to really babysit it. You have to make sure it doesn't split because of the fact that this is a starchy sauce, because we have the flour binding everything. It is not nearly as much of an issue as it normally would be. And that's why I feel comfortable just taking a second and walk away from it and not always like lowering the heat and whisking it constantly. I promise you all, it's gonna come together. It'll be okay. Only thing is heavy cream tends to be a little annoying to reheat, but there you go, whisk it in. Sometimes on top it's gonna form like a little skin. That happens because of the flour. Just mix it in and it'll be more than okay. Don't worry about it too much, guys. It's not bad to eat or anything. I forgot exactly what it is. I don't know if it's starch or if it's protein that comes out of the flour. Okay. There she goes. Let it thicken, let it cook, let it do its thing. Wait, what does splitting mean? So School of Rock and Roll, splitting means whenever like the fat separates from the liquid. Heavy cream is notorious for if you heat it too much or if you put too much water, it tends to separate into the fat and then the fat rises to the top. And it doesn't stay smooth and creamy. And that is not what we want to happen. Doesn't the skim happen because of the cream? It might, but I think it's also, you know, I think it also just happens with the flour sometimes too. Because I've definitely made non-cream gravies out of just stock and the skin still did end up forming. I forgot why exactly though. I forgot what it is exactly that comes up and rises to the top. And really rises to the occasion. I can tell you with confidence, I want more of my dried herb mixture though. I want more of that aroma. I want more of that heat from the cayenne. Okay? Chat, do we want a bland pot pie? I want to hear a nice resounding no, chef. Please and thank you. Okay, lovely. So everybody, we're going to begin getting the station ready for the pot pie. I'm going to be doing this nice little casserole dish. I think is going to accommodate all of my ingredients quite well. I think everything should be able to fit into this in one shot today. So I'm just gonna quickly wipe that off. And then we gotta get a Phyllo pastry out of the fridge. We have to get a nice little brush. We have to do the towel method. We can just do plastic wrap, honestly. But we're going to have to get that station set up, everybody. So let's go ahead and show you all of that now. So this is going to be the baking dish for today. This is all of the chicken that's about to get mixed in. As soon as that sauce is done, and it's at a point where I would like it, we're just cooking it so the cream thickens. Every so often, just going in there and scraping off the sides. Okay, I'm gonna get my Phyllo pastry from the fridge. I mean, if you keep straining it off, the issue is it still just keeps coming back on. It's just something that's coagulating. It's not that it's bad. You shouldn't take it out. It's totally fine to eat. It's just part of the milk and flour. I just forgot exactly what it is. Everybody, I have Phyllo pastry. I love buying Phyllo pastry. You can buy it frozen. I don't like rolling out doughs at home, and this is not a dough that needs to be rolled out or anything. Okay, so it's excellent, excellent for home cooking, I think, especially in these kinds of contexts. I just want to keep making some space on my table in the meantime. My sauce is going wonderful. I'm gonna get my frozen peas out of the freezer. Where's my peas? Aha, there you are. Wonderful. I think frozen peas, or just peas in general, are essential for a pot pie. I'm not really sure how you can have without it. Have a pot pie without one, if I'm being honest. They're just so iconic to my sense of a pot pie. And remember, everybody, it's going to look thinner the hotter it is. And after it comes out of the oven, it does need to cool a little bit. So the consistency is going to continue to thicken and gel as it all cools down. The chicken is gonna mop up that pot pie sauce. But right now, I just wanna keep on reducing it. Taste that. Honestly, all of the herbs, all of the cayenne, I want it flavorful. I want it delicious. All right, I'm not taking any half measures. That's good. Okay, so what else do we need to do? We need to go ahead and get the phyllo pastry ready, my friends. So once again, phyllo dough, one of my favorites to be able to go ahead and work at home because you don't have to roll it out, you don't have to knead it. And it's something that you can almost always find in any freezer section of a supermarket. Okay, and I just want to be able to include more baked goods, I think, into my home kitchen setting. Now, what is tricky about it though, is that it dries out what feels like almost immediately, my friends. So, the common practice is to cover it with a damp towel. I've actually found that the damp towel tends to make the layers stick to each other, so I think what would be optimal instead would be for me to do a layer of plastic wrap. Maybe like a layer of plastic wrap, or maybe some damp paper towels instead. I think those would treat us a little bit nicer than just having a damp towel directly on top. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little sheet tray, or a big sheet tray, actually. Come on. Thank you. We're about to get our pastry ready. We're gonna get it going. Oh, hello. Actually, could I use the 6 sheet tray? Or do I have to use a half sheet? Let's see. I think I can fit that onto a smaller one. I don't think I have to use the big one. I'm just running out of space here a little bit. That is the reality of home cooking, especially in New York City, especially when you're cooking on camera, guys. Countertop space is incredibly, incredibly valuable and more difficult to come by than you would think. So do not take it for granted. All right, come on, buddy. Up you go. I need you. Thank you. Oh. I have so many sheet trays to always take care of. Okay. I need somewhere else to put this in the meantime. Ugh. I'll be able to clean up a little bit afterwards. Just right now, we're still in the cooking zone. Okay. Got my sheet tray. Got that guy out. And I don't even think it needs to be a damp towel. I think we can just lay a towel directly on as it is, if I'm honest. Okay, guys, phyllo pastry. It's super, super thin. It's not as delicate as you think it is though. Okay, so you can handle it a lot rougher than a lot of people do give it credit for sometimes. So, I'm just quickly unrolling this bad boy. And I'm going to unroll it directly onto my sheet tray. And I'm gonna cover it with the plastic that it came in, and I'm also going to cover it with one more additional towel because everybody, if you leave it by itself, it can and will absolutely dry out. Chef, I was thinking that a cream drop biscuit crust on top might be good, like almost like a shepherd's pie. Do you foresee any problems with baking if I do that? Godzilla's, I think that sounds delicious. I think that would be excellent. Just look up some timings because a lot of people, they do drop biscuit. They do a lot of like biscuit toppings for pot pies and stuff. I just think your timings are going to be a little bit different is all. But no, I do not foresee any issues if you want my blessing. If you want my blessing, that is absolutely a valid style of pot pie. It happened again. Oh, this bastard. This is what happens when I try to lay my whisk down. Guys, I dropped my whisk again, and I got all of this hot sauce on me. Oh no. I'm a little bit stupid sometimes. This is one of those times. All right, enough of that. Back to my sauce. Ooh, I singed my fingers pretty badly just now. All right, gotta lower the heat on my sauce to make sure it doesn't dry out at the bottom, and then we can tend to my wounds in just a moment. It's not wounds, I'm fine. I'm just more annoyed about this than anything else, I think. Whisk it in good. Get all the stuff from the sides back inside. Okay, I think that is gonna be the viscosity that we need for today. And now, my friends, the finishing touches. What do we gotta do? Let's taste it for seasoning one last time. See how it's coming out, see how delicious it is, or maybe not delicious. That is quite excellent though. I will say that it's very, very flavorful. So the peas are going to be quite bland when we go in. So we want to go ahead and compensate with a few more little pinches of salt. Maybe the rest of that salt goes in. Ooh, wow, I really hurt myself actually. That hot sauce, it really, really stuck to my fingers. Ouch. Okay, well, I'll need to treat that later. At the moment though, we are cooking. Okay, everybody, in goes my frozen peas. How many peas am I gonna be adding? I don't know. I am okay, Shy Chica. I've burnt myself many more times in the kitchen than I can count. Something like this is not enough to stop me. I'm adding in a bunch of peas. I'm gonna go ahead and mix it in really quickly. How many peas is that? Is that enough peas? Or do I wanna do a few more peas? I think I wanna do a few more little peas. In they go. Excellent. And now, my friends, last but not least addition is going to be all of the chicken. Actually, I have this many peas left. In you go. No excuses. You go in. And all of my chicken, guys, now is gonna be the time to add it inside. And we're going to mix it. We're going to mix it all together. My chicken, my peas, my vegetables, my beautiful gravy that we've created together, guys. This is the basis for a lovely, incredible chicken pot pie. Look at it. It is velvety, it is rich, it is thick. Amazing. All right, throw the bowl into the dishwasher. Get rid of all of these little scraps, all these little papers that I no longer need. Get them out of here. Everybody, the filling is officially prepared. The filling is officially done with. So what do we need to do now? Well, if you guessed assemble it, you would be absolutely correct, my friends. So, first thing though, I wanna mix it. I wanna mix it so that the chicken is able to mop up all of that sauce. I want the sauce to get in between the layers of the shredded chicken, guys, okay? So mix it around, mix it up, get it inside. Look at that delicious chicken pot pie. Let's talk about what went into it. If everybody's watching, I wanna hear a nice resounding yes, chef, please, and thank you. We made a delicious roux out of some butter and flour. We cooked in carrots, onions, and celery. We made a homemade stock out of turkey necks, out of leeks, out of bay leaves, out of some mushrooms. We poached the chicken in it alongside some vegetable scraps. We added in the shredded chicken, we added in the peas, we added in some heavy cream, we added sage, we added thyme, we added oregano, and we added some rosemary inside, as well as garlic, and an egregiously large amount of freshly ground black pepper, everybody. This sauce is rich, it is viscous, it is creamy, and it's gonna be very, very tasty once it all bakes up into a pot pie. So, we are going to begin by packing up our vessel. We're going to pack our vessel with the pot pie filling, everybody. Now's gonna be the time. So we'll head to the stove. Excellent. Get this bad boy on. And we wanna make sure that we have a little teeny tiny bit of space on top. Is a pot pie not a very thick bisque? I mean, a lot of things in cooking are interchangeable too, you know. Okay? I'm going to take my little dish, plop it down, and I'm gonna fill it up properly. All the way up. All the way. Oh no, this dish, I don't actually think it's too small. I think this is gonna be okay for today, especially once it levels out. That's gonna be just enough space on top, I think. I don't think the size smaller would have been able to accommodate this amount of ingredients, if we're being honest. Okay. Okay. And it's also going to bubble up. It's gonna spill over a little bit. We always bake this on a sheet tray, guys, when we do get around to it. But right now, I just wanna make sure that it looks good. Okay. Beautiful. That is the beginnings of an excellent pot pie. And now, it is time for us to begin to layer some pastry. Wonderful. So, everybody, I have a question for all of you, which is, do we do the pie filling like you would for like a spanakopita, where you really crinkle it on top, or do we do it flat so that it bakes up in more layers? That is the question that I have at the moment at least. If you crinkle it up, it would be a lot easier to serve, truthfully speaking. Guys, look at this pot pie. Ooh, I want to taste it. I just want to give it a little taste right now. Did I just get that on me? Yes. Today's a bit of a mess, isn't it? Guys, just by itself, this is excellent. When it's baked up, it's even going to be better. So we got 1 vote for flat. Do we have any more votes before we go ahead and proceed with me making the ultimate decision? Does anybody else have any ideas? Crinkled serving isn't a bad idea. Chef, yes. Serena, that has not helped at all, actually, because I don't know which one are you voting for here. Sorry, I gotta have another taste. Just by itself, this is like one of the best soups I've ever made. That is like spicy, it's aromatic, it's fragrant. It has everything in a pot pie that you could possibly dream of, my friends. No idea? We can do a combination. I'm thinking now, okay? I don't want to do too many layers of pastry on top. Maybe a maximum like 4 sheets, I think would be good. First, we got to fill a little vessel with olive oil though. That is going to be the first step though, while I'm still thinking about this, while I'm still pondering. If we do flat, I honestly don't think it's going to get very crispy. I think I'm going to do 1 sheet of it flat. And then the rest of it is just going to be crinkled on top. I've made my decision. Okay, everybody, I figured out what we're doing. So, pot pie. Awesome. It is time for us to begin. Let's make some space. I'm going to grab a nice proper sheet of phyllo pastry. Just 1 sheet, and we gotta move fast so that it doesn't dry out, okay? 1 sheet is gonna go on now, just 1. Come on, my friend. Out you go. And I'm gonna cover up the rest of it with plastic wrap, as well as the just dry towel. Again, everybody, if you leave it by itself for too long, it can and will dry out. It has a lot more resilience than you think, but the enemy is being exposed to oxygen, okay? So, let's add this one inside. And my idea is I just kind of want to tuck in maybe those edges ever so slightly. Something like that. Something like that. And let's crinkle those edges around. I think that's what we're going to do. Crinkle those edges around. This layer of pastry is not going to be able to get too crispy, okay? Because it is absolutely now saturated with the sauce, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and grab my extra virgin olive oil, and I'm going to just brush it down. And I'm going to brush it all the way around, because it's going to help get the rest of the pastry nice and crisp, guys, by doing it like this, okay? Paint those edges, paint it all the way around, paint it up. You want to use a generous amount of olive oil, and I'm almost like tucking it in. I'm tucking it in good night. I think this is the idea that I have. Okay, wonderful. It's been tucked in for the most part. I think that's gonna do nicely. Let's go ahead and we're gonna do a few crinkles of this pastry just right on top. And I think that'll be delicious. So, here we go. Everybody, you ready for this? Sheet of phyllo dough. On it goes. And I'm just going to take it and crinkle it and drape it right on something like this. Okay, and this is going to get super, super crispy in the oven as it cooks. Okay, you want to keep it not too dense. And we're going to douse it in olive oil. Douse it, my friends. Douse it in olive oil, okay? Just like so. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and do the next one. All that oil is going to help it to get beautiful. Next sheet. We're going to do in total 4 more sheets, I think. On it goes. Grab it. How do I tell when my chicken is ready when it's poaching? I don't have a thermometer. Cabeza, if it's just been poaching and not really bubbling and boiling away. Chicken breast, usually 20 minutes, depending on how low your temperature is. Honestly, you don't have to sweat it too much. Don't sweat it too much. You could even cut into it. All the people that say, oh, all the juices will run out. It's fine. You can just cut into it and see the doneness of it that way. Okay, olive oil. More of it on, my friends. Dab it on, dab it on, dab it on. You want it to be nice and crispy on top. Okay. Next few layers, and then it'll be all set. So I think this way we're gonna get the best of both worlds. We're going to have one flat layer whose job it is to kind of just like soak up the sauce and help keep everything nice and contained. And then these guys' job is gonna be for them to get really, really properly crispy, okay? So, cover up the rest of it. Take it, guys, and brush it down with lots of olive oil. Just like so. Just like so. Okay? One last one, guys. One last sheet, and then we're gonna be all ready to bake. We're gonna do 375 for about 30 minutes. The filling is already all done on the inside. We just wanna make sure that the peas cook, that the sauce is able to really like kind of infuse and become one with the rest of the ingredients that we have. Okay, guys, last sheet of phyllo dough happening now, going on now. Wonderful. And I'm gonna quickly cover up the rest of it. If the chicken isn't poached at temp, will it cook in the baking process? Yes, absolutely. 100%. That's what we're looking for to happen here. Okay, the rest of this olive oil goes on, and I'm going to just do a little extra drizzle right on top, just to really help it get good in the oven, guys. All right, everybody, this is it. This is the moment where it all happens. This is the moment where it all comes together. So once again, this might look like a very humble little pie right now, but it had so much love, so much care, and so much affection be put into it. My chicken pot pie is ready to bake. I need one last little yes, chef, and then we're gonna go ahead and work on the salad, because this step is maybe the most important step, guys. Chicken pot pie, the liquid, the sauce is going to cook. What's going to happen? It's going to bubble, and it's going to want to leave the pan. So we always put it onto a little sheet tray. I'm going to line it with some aluminum foil. This is going to stop it from dripping down to the bottom of your oven. You do not do this, and you are playing with literally fire, okay? That is not a game that you want to play. That is not a game that you will win. So, lining a sheet tray with some foil. And in fact, I might even like slash the top of it really quickly, just to like help the top of it cook, or some of the steam to escape, I think. I don't think that would be a bad idea. We'll slash it. I'll grab my knife. I'm just gonna go in. I'm just gonna slash the top of the pastry and basically make this into 4 portions, just like so, just so that it has somewhere to go when the steam starts escaping, okay? So, it's been slashed. It's ready to go, guys. It's gonna go onto a sheet tray now, and hopefully it's going to bake up and get nice and proper and beautifully crispy inside of the oven. Let's go. Into the oven, add it in, 375 for about 30 minutes or so. Phyllo is so forgiving, right? It's not gonna like burn on you all of a sudden, which you would expect it to because it's so thin, but honestly it doesn't. All right, guys, that's going, that's cooking. Now we have to do the least favorite part. We have to clean up a little bit. So if anybody has any questions, now would be an amazing time to ask. And then after we're done cleaning, we will of course make that delicious little salad today. Let's get rid of all of the stuff that we no longer need. Get rid of that olive oil for now. Get rid of the bowl, get rid of the brush, get rid of the spoons. Get them all gone, because we do not need them right now. But I am going to taste all of the remnants. Guys, this chicken pot pie, it is no joke. I don't know when's the last time I've been so like excited about something that we've made here. This has to like take the cake, I think. This is gonna be one of the coolest things that we've done here in a while. Quite technical though. That was a lot of steps, wasn't it? But A lot of that was just kind of my own lack of organization, if I'm being honest. It's kind of on me. Okay, I gotta get rid of the pastry. I'm gonna roll it back on up and put it back into the fridge. You can use it within a few days or so, something like that. I really have gotten quite better, I think, at using phyllo dough. I'm really, really enjoying it as an ingredient. Now that I've like really figured out like the damp towel thing that everybody tells you to do, it's not that it's like total nonsense, but I don't actually think it's all that helpful. I think there's better methods out there. Specifically just using the plastic in a regular towel, it stops those sheets from really sticking together too much, you know? So, I'm rolling it up. I'm putting it away for now. And I'll get that back into the fridge. And we'll just keep it there until, you know, we'll use it for something else later on. Maybe we'll use it for tomorrow, even though I feel like we cook with phyllo dough all the time. So everybody, because we're doing a back-to-back, I need ideas on what to make tomorrow. Is there anything that anybody's been feeling lately? I know we had the suggestion to do something Mexican, and I think that would also be pretty fantastic at the moment. I got a whole chicken breast and a whole chicken tender to still use up that I've got in mind. Your chicken tastes good? Well, I'm glad to hear that, Official Cabezas. It sounds lovely. Sounds excellent at the moment. But yeah, I feel like we haven't done like Mexican food in quite some time. I don't think now would be the worst time to do that. It would be familiar, it would be comfortable. A chicken sandwich. So, Official Cabeza, we did a chicken sandwich once not too long ago, but I don't really like doing chicken sandwiches or any kind of sandwich at home because it feels like it's so many different components and it's really difficult to even like slice a decent bread. You know, guys, getting decent bread in the United States, it's very discouraging. It is so discouraging that it makes me not particularly want to make sandwiches like that, you know? Just gotta roll up my phyllo a little tighter. Yeah, guys, American bread is so depressing. Have I done birria lately? Expire? I have not done birria in quite a while. The reason why I'm a little reluctant to say yes to birria specifically, even though I could theoretically do it in a pressure cooker, it's one of those things that is best done very, very slowly. It's a lot of chilies, it's very component heavy. It might be a little too much for what I want to do tomorrow. Let's bake our bread. Well, we do that sometimes on the show, Official Cabezas, right? Sometimes we do like we did the Irish soda bread once, which was very, very tasty, but yeah, not feeling it. Okay, I finally got my phyllo packed away. That took a while to get it back into the original plastic. I mean, maybe we could find out something else that we could do with the phyllo dough, but honestly, we've done so many boilex and everything, so I don't know about that even. I'll get my sheet tray out of here, and then we can go ahead and begin on the salad, everybody. Oh, so many components, so many dishes. Damn. I didn't do a full load of dishes before I began the stream today. My dishwasher is already like half full, so that means my cleanup process today is going to be very, very, very annoying. But that's okay. That's part of running a cooking show sometimes. Guys, sometimes life just happens. Wow, all right, wonderful. How does my hair look at the moment? Uneven. Bangs are so annoying sometimes, especially when you're like a little damp, when you've been working and doing things. Bangs are so good when you like brush them and you like wake up on the right day, and then other days, a little obnoxious, a little bit tricky. Oh guys, I'm so excited about the pot pie. So I'm gonna quickly wash off my knife again because it has touched something wet and I would like to stop it from rusting whenever possible. So I'm just gonna quickly rinse it off. Okay, got all rinsed out, got it ready to go for today. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe this bad boy dry. Oh, how's my pot pie doing? Oh, everybody, the pastry on top is already getting golden. It is already getting quite crispy. It looks quite delicious. I'm really, really excited to show you guys. Ah, this might be maybe one of like, I can already tell you right now, today is going to be one of the best things we've ever made on the cooking show. It just has to be. I love pot pie. This one is flavorful. It's delicious. It's using up leftovers. I barely spent any money getting any of the ingredients for it. Oh, official Cavessa. That's very sweet. Well, I'm glad that you were able to enjoy the show. It's lovely to have you here. Everybody, if you are enjoying the cooking show, as always, you can support me on the Patreon, !Patreon. Best way to go ahead and directly financially support the show. As a reminder, everybody, we're doing a modified schedule for the next few weeks. For the next 2 weeks specifically, we're doing Wednesday, Thursday, and not Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, because I'm going to be gone and traveling for the weekends. Oh, that pot pie, that's gonna be good. I know I keep saying that like over and over again, but it's gonna be excellent. So everybody, alongside the pot pie, I wanted something a little bit lighter. I wanted something a little bit more refreshing. And I thought this would be an excellent time for us to go ahead and make a salad for today. For whatever reason, I was really feeling a sweet potato. Okay? I was feeling a sweet potato salad. I want to do a sweet potato salad. I want to be able to pack in a couple of other things inside of it. Okay, I usually like to do like a sweet potato and feta and bell pepper salad. I didn't want to buy more bell pepper, or I didn't want to buy more feta. So we're just going to do sweet potato, we're going to do bell pepper, we're going to do scallions, we're going to do cilantro. We're going to do a little balsamic vinegar and a little bit of olive oil. And I think that that would be excellent. Okay, so just going to quickly check on something. Wonderful. So, I feel like charred corn could fit in nicely there. That does sound lovely. But the reason why I initially abstained from adding in any corn component trash can is just because we already have the sweet potato. I feel like it would have enough sweetness as it is. And we have fully exited the time for decent corn. I made a shrimp salad off stream just for myself. Because guys, sometimes I do cook not on camera. And the corn really sucked lately. So, let's go ahead and begin. Let's go ahead and begin with the salad. And we're going to start by cooking a sweet potato. I have one large sweet potato. I've washed it, I've scrubbed up the skin. I think the best way to process the sweet potato for something like this, I'm gonna microwave it. I am not above microwaving my potatoes. I don't really care about getting a roasted potato for the salad, guys, because let me tell you something right now. The goal of the salad, the point of the salad, was to both give us something to do while the pot pie is cooking in the same amount of time, and then also be able to lighten everything up. If we did a roasted sweet potato salad, it's just going to be more time, more effort, and more dishes. That is not the point of something like this. So, we're going to take the sweet potato, and we're just going to stab it. Whoop, hello. We're going to stab it all around with a fork. And we're going to microwave it and cook it and then scoop out the flesh and cut it up a little bit. In total, a sweet potato like this, depending on the strength of your microwave, I'm going to say in total maybe like 8 minutes. Right? It depends on the size, it depends on the strength of the microwave. I'm going to start off with doing 6 minutes, and I'm going to flip it halfway through. I don't want my sweet potato to be mushy on the inside, okay, but I definitely don't want it to be crunchy either. I do want it to hold up just enough that it's able to go into the salad, okay? So, into a microwave-safe dish, a microwave-safe bowl, I'm just going to go ahead and place it into microwave. 5 minutes, 6 minutes, I'm gonna flip it halfway, and then if we undershoot it, we can just always stab it and see if it needs more time. Okay? Awesome. So that's happening. Let's go ahead and mix up the rest of these salad ingredients for today. I have some lovely yellow bell pepper. Well, it looks lovely. Hopefully it tastes lovely. Let's find out. It's okay. There's not that much that you can expect from a grocery store, honestly. Okay, I'm gonna be looking for a small dice or so, everybody. So we're going to go ahead and begin. No wet paper towel for the sweet potato. Honestly, I think it's gonna be fine because I don't really care about, I don't really care about preserving the skin, Godzillas. If anything, I wanna dry out the skin. I wanna dry out the skin so that we can easily peel it after, okay? What's with negative views on microwaves? I've caught myself having them at times without even knowing why. There was a lot of fear-mongering with microwaves and radiation. The reality is it's like long-wave radiation. It just vibrates the water molecules inside. And microwaves can output really bad food sometimes if you don't know how to use them properly. So I feel like it's just like a lot of social conditioning and a lot of pretentiousness as well coming into play there. There's a lot of different mechanisms at foot. Okay, we're going to go ahead, take these bell pepper planks, and we're going to go ahead, and transform them from planks into sticks, just like so. I'm gonna have one as a snack. Not the sweetest, but we'll make do somehow. Cut them up into sticks. Cut it up into sticks. Nice lemon slices. Thank you, Shai Chica. Okay, we have all of them cut up into sticks. And let's just go ahead and get a small to medium dice. Just think about whatever size bell pepper that you would like in your salad today. Okay, take it, stack it up, and dice it. I'm just going for a small to medium dice. I'm gonna try to match all of my ingredients. Well, it's not that many ingredients, but mostly the sweet potatoes to the size of the bell pepper. Awesome, that's one. And let's go ahead and get this other pile. We're gonna have to do this in 2 batches. I can hear the sweet potato sizzling in the microwave. I hope it's doing okay. It seems to be doing fine. It's just complaining a little bit. And dice it up. It is like squeaking, and then it is making some unpleasant guttural sounds. It's been a while since I've microwaved a potato, honestly. Okay. Honestly, for how much I paid, guys, this bell pepper, it was $4 a pound. For a $4 a pound bell pepper, I would like to expect something better. That was definitely not deserving of the $4 a pound. All right, scoop it up, add it to a bowl, and we'll go ahead and move on to the sweet potato now. The sweet potato has cooked officially for 3 minutes. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna flip this bad boy over and cook it for another 3 minutes, just to help get it nice and evenly cooked all throughout, my friends. Okay? So, sweet potatoes going, bell pepper is inside of the bowl, chicken pot pie is in the oven. It's baked already for 14 minutes, my friends. The crust on top looks golden. It looks delicious. What else do I want to go into the salad? Well, I have all of this fresh green cilantro. Okay, we're going to go ahead and grab these bad boys and bundle it up. And we're not going to chop it, my friends. We're not gonna chop it. We're not gonna crush it. We're just going to go ahead and get a nice, proper, beautiful slice. I should have probably kept this cold. I might have plucked these too early, but I think that's okay. Take your cilantro, my friends, and slice it. Slice it very, very gently with as little vertical force as humanly possible. Feta cheese in the salad. Honestly, guys, any cubes of cheese, any shredded cheese would be amazing in a salad like this. That sounds very, very tasty. But I didn't do it because, you know, I just want something vegetal. I wanted something to pair with the pot pie, right? And I think if I had too much like cheese or cream or like things like that, it would have been too rich to be able to serve alongside it. So, big pile of cilantro, nicely cut up, all ready to go. Let's go ahead and scrape it up and add it inside of the bowl with the bell pepper. Excellent. Next, everybody, let's go ahead and cut up a bunch of nice little scallions just to get some greenery, just to get some of that delicious alliumy notes inside. And I will finally be able to succeed in my mission of using up all of my leftover scallions. These guys have been sitting in my fridge for a while now. It is time for them to officially go. Thank you, Mr. Scallions. And we're going to thinly slice it up for the salad. I love scallions so much. You can never have too many of them, especially in a salad. I'm gonna go thin, 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 thin. Get some nice proper rings. Good, Godzillas. I'm glad that you picked up on it. Yeah, Archspire and Trash Can Cat Mom, $40 a pound is ridiculous. But that is what it's like being in New York. That is the cost of produce here. For really bad quality bell peppers too, is the part about it that really hurts the most, honestly. That's what sucks most. It's not just the fact that they're bad, but I paid $40 a pound for bad. You would hope that for $40 a pound bell peppers, they would be decent. I remember in some of like the organic supermarkets in New York, you would buy like a 3-pack of bell peppers for like $9. 3-pack of plastic wrapped, shrink wrapped bell peppers for $9. crazy. Actually, just genuinely diabolical. This place is ridiculous sometimes. You know? What was on this plate before? Was it the... I don't remember. Oh, it was the cilantro. Okay, I'm gonna get this in the dishwasher. I'm gonna get the other plate in the dishwasher. Everybody, my sweet potato has officially cooked for about 6 minutes or so, but we don't know if it's done until we actually get in there ourselves and feel if it is, okay? So, we'll give it a little check. We'll give it a little checkup. See how she's doing. Especially when cooking things like produce, they're so variable. Your microwave has different wattages. All right, guys, you want to be very, very mindful of those differences. That's why recipes aren't very good at teaching people things. They don't teach you why things happen in the kitchen. So, here we go. That's a microwave sweet potato. I can already tell you from the wrinkling, it might need a couple more minutes, but I just want to be able to pierce it. And I want the knife to go in without much resistance all the way. So, I go in. Honestly, my knife got to the other end of it just fine. I think that's going to be just fine for today. Okay. Now the tricky question is this. How do we actually go about peeling a microwave sweet potato? Maybe we'll just scoop out the flesh. Something like that. Let's open it up. It's hot to the touch though. Is the only unfortunate thing about it. Ooh. Actually guys, take a look. The skin, because it was uncovered, is just kind of naturally pushing away the potato underneath it all. So I think that works out quite nicely. Look at that beautiful sweet potato. In fact, it's a heart shape. That's how much I really appreciate. I wouldn't say love you guys, because that would be like too parasocial, but there you go. That's for all of my lovely sous chefs. That's for all of you. Okay? So I think it's going to be the easiest to peel before it cools down. If we let it cool down too much. That's a tasty sweet potato. If we let it cool down too much, I think the skin is just going to adhere back to the potato. I can be parasocial, it's fine, maybe. Maybe in small doses sometimes. Oh, everybody, the pot pie looks lovely. 11 more minutes on it. Okay. I think I'm gonna grab a spoon. I think the best way to do this would be like maybe treat this like it's an avocado or something. So I'll grab a spoon and hopefully we can go ahead and just easily scoop out the flesh without singeing my dainty little fingertips too much. There you go. Nice little chunk of sweet potato flesh. And let's go get this out. And we'll come back and get all the little scraps, guys. We'll come back and then don't you worry. I think I should have probably rotated it more often. I'm actually going, but it's not the world's sweetest sweet potato either. Man, I suck at picking produce sometimes. Okay, there you go. It is the produce that often sucks, you are right. You forgot to fry your black pepper? That is totally okay, official cabezas. That is totally fine. Again, frying the black pepper, it's a small touch. It's not a thing that makes or breaks your dish, you know? So if you neglected to do so, don't worry about it. Okay. This is quite like peeling an eggplant. You know, I should microwave sweet potatoes more often. That's really not a bad way to cook it at all. That's no prep at all. Nice and easy, in and out. Awesome. Okay, everybody, we have a sweet potato. And look at it, it's not falling apart. It's not turning to mush. I'm gonna take that skin away though. It's not falling apart, it's not turning into mush. It's perfectly cooked and it's perfect to go into a salad for today. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take it and we're going to cut it up into some nice medium cubes or so before it cools down. If it's hot, it's not going to stick to your cutting board. It's not going to be as difficult to handle. Okay. So, cut it into strips. And then we'll take all of my strips of microwave sweet potato. Doesn't sound all that appealing, but it's going to be a tasty little salad. Cut it up. Cube it. Cube it. Cube it. Awesome. Excellent. And get it into, well, actually, I think I'm gonna cool it off just a little bit first. I don't wanna add it into my bowl immediately because it might risk cooking the cilantro. And I don't wanna cook the cilantro. I don't wanna do any of that, guys. So, I'm just going in there, I'm cubing it up. No real science to this or anything. Just chop it up. Wonderful. It just gives. It's nice and easy. And with that, I do believe we are officially done using the knife for today. So, while I let the potatoes cool off, while I let them steam off for a second, I'm going to take the liberty of cleaning off my knife once and for all, guys. Put it away. And then, oh, the pot pie has 8 minutes on it. I'm so excited to show it to you all. 8 minutes before it comes out. And it's going to be golden, it's gonna be crispy, it's gonna be glistening, and inside it's going to be creamy and rich and delicious. In the meantime, we are approaching the final stages of the show. All that we have left to do is to dress the salad, take out the pot pie, and to be able to serve and plate it all. Is everybody enjoying the show so far? If you have any and all questions, by the way, once again, this is the time, this is the place. Anything related to food, always welcomed, always encouraged to be asked to. I'm just checking on my pot pie again. I know I should not be opening this oven nearly as much as I am. I just want to make sure it's not burning, and it is not. It looks perfect. Back in you go. I'm going to stop touching it for another 7 minutes. We'll pop it out. Okay, I got to wash off my knife. That's what I keep neglecting to do at the moment, at this juncture. Letting my sweet potatoes cool down. We'll clean off the knife. We'll mix the salad, we'll dress it, we'll do some olive oil, we'll do some smoked balsamic, we'll do some black pepper, we'll do some salt. I have this nice tasty smoked balsamic vinegar. You're welcome to do any kind of citrus. You can do any kind of vinegar that you would like, guys. Again, that is the magic of cooking, that is the magic of food. Things like acidity, especially in salads, totally your choice. You can do plain white vinegar, you can do red wine vinegar, you can do rice vinegar, anything that you would like. So, gloving up, gonna wash my knife once and for all and be done with it. Clean as you go, everybody. Do it now and you'll thank yourself later. Guys, I genuinely think this pot pie may very well be one of the best things I've ever made. Period. Maybe even on stream, but this is a high effort meal done with a lot of love and a lot of care. Rinsing off my knife. 5 more minutes on the pie, everybody. We still gotta finish the salad though. Whoa. A lot of work for today. This is a lot of work for a Wednesday stream, I think. I usually try to keep my Wednesday streams light and my Sunday streams heavy, but today, we're going all out. We're putting a lot of effort in, that's fun. Okay, so I need to quickly refill my little container of kosher salt. We'll add some olive oil, we'll add some of that smoked balsamic vinegar, we'll toss that salad together, and then we'll have a little taste and see how it came out, my friends. Okay, so let's go ahead. My knife is officially all dried off. That is all done with for today. Back to the salad. Scoop up those sweet potatoes. Get them up and get them into the bowl. Get them up and get them into the bowl. Here we are 2 hours and 40 minutes later. I thought we would get done faster, Dosky. I thought we would get done. It's always when I say it's going to be a short stream today. So I'm not going to season this first. I'm going to first add the balsamic vinegar and olive oil. I'm not gonna do any whipped, emulsified dressings, everybody. I'm just gonna go ahead and just drizzle it with what looks like a fun amount of olive oil. Just add that in as it is. Don't have to go crazy about it, don't have to measure it. Next, I'm going to add in my balsamic. And so, I wanted to have my dressing first coat the ingredients, because then it'll be easier to go ahead and mix in the salt and the pepper, okay? That is right, 3 hours compared to the streams that we were doing in the beginning, guys. I don't know what was wrong with me. That was crazy. That was a lot for me to do. I was doing some crazy long streams in the beginning, you know? Okay, so as for my salad, I'm going to take the balsamic, I'm going to take the olive oil, and we're just going to mix it up. Today, no, not an aggressive amount of olive oil for the sweet potatoes. Much more normal, well-behaved amount. Oh, we had like a 4-hour stream once or twice before, I think. Okay, balsamic vinegar, olive oil. Last but not least, my friends, we have to season this with salt. You can't have food without salt, of course. Salt goes on. And I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to try my best to not crush those sweet potatoes. When I mix this, salt goes on. Don't crush it, just scoop it and mix it and move it around. And we're going to do some black pepper. Just for some additional flavor. Just a fun, simple, quick little salad. A little bit of black pepper. It's not that much salad. It's just made from one sweet potato here, really. And then we get to go in for a taste. This is a beautiful salad, isn't it? I think it's quite pretty. And ideally, I would have chilled this down, but we didn't have such time today. All right, let's go ahead and taste it for some seasoning. Let's see if it needs more salt. Let's see if it needs more pepper. Let's see if it needs more olive oil. Let's see if it needs more vinegar. Gonna go ahead and grab a nice big bite of it all. Try to hopefully... I don't know why I got the smallest fork for a salad I've ever seen. I don't know why I did that. Olive oil I can taste. Salt, I cannot. I think my sweet potatoes a little bit too cooked as well for this. And I would like a little bit more of my smoked balsamic in here as well. Otherwise, guys, feta cheese would have been perfect in here. Good on salt now. A little bit more balsamic. Whoa. Oh no, that was a lot of balsamic just now. Although that looks like almost like a balsamic-y syrup, it looks like almost like a glaze. So maybe it'll be okay. That was a lot of balsamic, wasn't it? Let's taste that. Nope, that's just fine. It's not all that acidic, honestly. There you go. That, my friends, is a properly delicious salad. That's all done. Super simple. Olive oil, black pepper, smoked balsamic vinegar, sweet potato, red bell pepper, cilantro, scallion, sweet potato. Guys, it is time. Is everybody ready for my pot pie? It is time for her to come out. She is all finished. This is going to be maybe the final yes, chef. I don't know yet. But I want you all to see its majesty. I want a crispy top. I want a creamy inside. I want to see the layers, my friends. So, let's take it out. Let's open it up. And it looks proper and golden and delicious. That looks quite beautiful. And so it's bad practice to go in there and dig into it immediately. But I'm going to do that mostly for the camera right now. It is bubbling. It is boiling away. It has this beautiful, crispy phyllo on top, my friends. And inside is all of that gorgeous pot pie. Wow. I'm taking a video for myself. Oh, that is beautiful. That is a gorgeous pot pie. Okay. Guys, I'm very, very happy with the way that came out. That looks incredible. Oh, I need a bowl. I need a little bowl of this. It's gonna be time, my friends. It's time for us to go ahead and plate. The moment we've all been waiting for. I'm going to go ahead and grab a nice big, hefty scoop of the pastry. I'm using a slotted spoon for some reason, for something that is soupy, which is honestly kind of insane of me to do, but that's okay. It's got peas, it has chicken. I should have let it cool. I should have let it set a little bit more, but I do not care because it is time for us to eat. Guys, I'm gonna plate up the salad and we are out of here. Oh, I need to talk about that phyllo. Plate up some salad. Excellent. We are all done. We're all finished for today. Everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Let's talk about it. We have an incredible chicken pot pie made with phyllo dough. Chicken, peas, carrots, onions, celery, garlic, sage, rosemary, thyme, as well as some oregano inside and cayenne pepper. A homemade stock made out of the smoked turkey necks, leeks, carrots, celery, etc., as well as some shiitake mushrooms. It is meaty. It is rich. I need a spoon for this. What am I doing? I'm insane right now. And then alongside it, a little sweet potato salad with some bell pepper, balsamic vinegar, olive oil, cilantro, and scallions. So first we're gonna take a bite of the salad, because that's where we're gonna start. Tasty, a little too sweet. I think the feta would be essential in here, as well as like some tomatoes, because the bell pepper and the sweet potatoes are both quite sweet. Not my favorite salad I've ever done, but still quite nice. In the future, feta cheese for the salinity and tomatoes to really cut through it all. But now, the crispy phyllo dough, this is like burning hot at the moment. Some of the pot pie. I think crinkling the dough was the play. My roommate needs to be home soon to eat this. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. I'm so happy with this. That's delicious. That is stupidly delicious. If you haven't made a pot pie before, you can even just make the soup. You don't have to bake it. I love chicken pot pie. I love chicken pot pie so much, guys. Honestly, the phyllo topping, it makes it a lot lighter, a lot easier to eat. Granted, the biscuits, they soak up the batter, the sauce better, but I have no issues with this. Damn. I'm happy. Wow. Okay. I want to be able to enjoy that off camera. Everybody, thank you for being here. No stream Friday, no stream Sunday. Tomorrow, October 4th. No, 3rd? 3rd. Tomorrow, October 3rd. Thursday, October 3rd, 5 p.m. EDT. I'm going to see you all tomorrow. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for stopping by. I'm going to see you. Bye-bye.